night skyline racing through the night. Atlanta's heart is pounding, feel the city's might. From the Braves to the Ferris wheel, I'm chasing dreams so real. Burning rubber on the pavement, let the wheels reveal. Pushing limits, no turning back. In the city of the Braves, I'm on the attack. Through the streets where the legends play, I'll keep on racing, never fade away. Midnight heat, I'm burning, burning for you. Midnight heat, I'm burning. Up these streets, never give up, never give in. With the power of Christ, I'll take the win. Midnight heat, I'm burning, burning for you. Midnight heat, I'm burning. Up these streets, never give up, never give in. With the power of Christ, I'll take the win.
I don't know how long, Baron Bad Beaver's been back there.
It is I, Baron Von Bad Beaver. Oh no. Terror of the west coast of Canada. Pudding thieves extraordinaire. And I have come to this stream to wish you a happy Halloween.
I hate you. I hate you.
Of you out there. Do you have the pudding? It won't be for long.
Baron, I hope you die a painful death.
Oh.
Most likely will be. It's something called diabetes type 1.
Yeah. Is that Bane? No, it's Baron.
Close enough.
Baron Von Bad Beaver, Canada's #1 pudding thief, sir.
Pudding thief?
Pudding thief.
Oh. That makes me sad. I like pudding.
I have a barrel of it. But it's not mine, you see, because I stole it.
Every time I try to get away from Discord, it follows me.
This is what we do. You can come see us all on the trash compactor. This is the kind of entertainment that we have on our channel.
Why is the screen covered with green and purple jizz? It's splattered all over your boy Zach and testify, goodness gracious.
Yes.
And I myself am sporting a fine green glaze.
So, what voice changes are you using right now?
That's his real voice.
Natural voice inside of a bucket.
Bucket.
You see the bucket? It's right here. The green is covering it. Yes, I know, the green jizz. But there's a bucket here, sir. A bucket.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, anyway,
Are you pals with Dr.
Jones? Thank you all for the moments of time, and catch me on the trash compactor sometime. Do bring that costume.
Yes.
You're on camera. Say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I said, oh, them was some birds.
Boy, little turn on the TV, they hit the Pentagon! They hit the fucking Pentagon!
Black shirts coming, stop running, running. Black shirts coming, stop running, running. Black shirts coming, stop running, running. Wide awake from the sleep, lessons of the past on repeat. Wide awake from the sleep, lessons of the past on repeat. Wide awake from the sleep, lessons of the past on repeat. We rising, no holding us back. We worldwide moving as a pack on the streets to the heights. We only attack. They try to hold us down. Put your money on black. Money on black. Money on black.
It's a natural voice, you see, and a bucket. Well, that was what happened on Halloween about 4 years ago, and I ran across that clip, so I thought, why not share the joy of Baron von Bad Beaver? And to help me enjoy this trailer of Sakamoto Days from the Netflix arm, I don't know, somebody's sharing this. Here is the lovely Miss Nerdigan.
Hello, Black Shirt Army. And my kitty is saying hello too while he's sleeping.
For now.
For now, he's not causing chaos. He's being a good kitties. You're being good kitties, right, Zeno? Yeah.
But out here in the chat, we do have Sakuramita saying they're ready. Well, welcome aboard. We're ready too here. This is unfortunate news. We're going to get into more unfortunate news. Really unfortunate news, really. You buckle up, okay? Because, bring your puke bucket too. They give you a popcorn bucket? They need to start giving you a puke bucket because, man, what you're about to hear is pretty rough. But we got ideas in here saying, Jeremy Renner, 60% of Americans will have election deniers on the ballot this year. Join me and Mark Ruffalo and support the champions running against them. Every single donation will be doubled. And after what Mark Ruffalo went through, after what Jeremy Renner went through, I kind of get it. Trying to stay in the game, right? You play ball so you don't get sidelined after your injury and stuff like that. He is the disabled Avenger, if you will, after this accident.
Yeah.
So I get it. He's trying to play ball, but I mean, like that's not really a smart way to do it, dude. I don't know. I guess I would have been like, I got physical therapy that day, guys. Sorry, I see you later. And I don't know. It's kind of rough. We do have RJ McReady here saying Zegler seems to be on a mission to tank this movie, angering pro-Trump and pro-Israel. Also, I can't say first, but I could say second. Yeah, that's right. Well, the situation, though, is that that lady's on a mission to just tank her career. There's no movie about it. It's the whole package, But speaking of the whole package here, Sakamoto Days has a trailer to announce the Netflix release on January 11th. Now,
and there's also a second core too, which has been confirmed for July 2025. So it is going to be a split core, which people weren't sure about. But yeah, it is going to be a split core.
So, we're not going to obviously listen to the audio here, and I'm going to have it off center so that YouTube doesn't immediately take the stream down. You'll have to forgive me. But
here's the thing that I've been concerned with, and this has been something that's, and I think I mentioned it before on other streams. If I've not, I'm going to mention it. The manga, it just doesn't matter. They don't really care because they're just making money. Because anime, in all reality, is more so an advertisement for the manga. Yep. And Sakamoto Days, it doesn't really have anything to worry about. The manga's been selling really well without an anime for the longest time, so it's not going to really change. And it's the same case with Kaiju number 8. It was selling just fine before the anime came out. The bigger deal in terms of the anime, though, is overseas, because for some reason, people overseas just don't like reading books and would just rather read subtitles. I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. It is the weirdest thing.
Well, and this is another thing we saw back here in the West too, when they started doing like the Star Wars movies and all these superhero adaptations, is that rather than having people who were actually involved with the original production involved, they started bringing in people who would have nothing to do with like creating something that would lead to royalty checks having to be paid. And maybe that's what's going on here, is that they can claim parts of this are not like translated from the manga in order to maybe save some money on royalties. Do you think that's what they're doing here?
It could be the case. Well, here's the thing. And this is what I know from my industry insider. Like, I don't know if it's like this for all studios, but I know this is how it is for, say, like MAPPA. What MAPPA does is the most of the their production cost goes into hiring the talent. So if the animation quality is not the best, that's because the money goes into hiring like the best director, the best script writer, the best character designer. So like if you're having like, say, like a slideshow anime kind of situation, yeah. But there's also the fact that there's something called, and this is what happened with Blue Lock, for example, you have something called, and Attack on Titan too to an extent, you have something called a production committee. and they are the ones that allocate the budget. So the studios are at the mercy of the production committee. So they ultimately decide how things go as well. So you got to keep that in mind too. But if you look at Sakamoto Days manga and compare it to this, it's just it's like a soul versus soulless kind of thing, where you see like Sakamoto Days manga, there's more dimension because of the shading. And yes, I know it's two different mediums, but like you look at the shading in Sakamoto Days manga and it looks like it's coming to life. It looks like something that's three-dimensional. You look at this and yeah, there's parts where, yeah, it does look a little bit three-dimensional, but then there's other parts of it where it looks flat. It doesn't look like it looks like something you would see in like a regular comic book where it is like two-dimensional, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like we saw what they did with Demon Slayer. They put in a lot of 3D effect in order to mimic what the manga was like delivering. And so that's not present here. This doesn't feel too much different than My Hero Academia.
Yep.
It's got a little more stylization to it, but that's about it. It feels very much like this could be a spin-off of My Hero Academia.
It feels like a bare minimum. It feels like if you've there's something called Sakamoto Holidays, which is the spinoff to Sakamoto Days, and it's a different mangaka that's doing it. It feels like a little bit leaning more towards that, where it's less detailed and there's less shading and less line work than Sakamoto Days. It kind of feels like that in terms of art. And actually, Sakamoto Holidays has more
90s cheat sheet with the anime stuff, mid to early 2000s cheat sheet stuff where
it's
a little
been
loose
like
on the details.
It's been like this for a while. It's been like this. I've talked to animators that have said that it's been going downhill like this for like the last decade or so. But but the thing is also you got to keep in mind when COVID hit, that's when the budget increased by a lot. But that's because there's also the increase in anime demand from the West.
Yep.
And
everywhere.
Now, well, yeah, but now that there's like, and also China, there's a huge demand from China. But now
they learned their lesson.
Yeah. But now that the demand apparently is going down. Now they're cutting back. It's very, very interesting with what's happening.
Yep. Well, and we heard about this earlier too, that we were going to start seeing the market start to retract quite rapidly due to mostly the fact that the West was going to start migrating back into its own content, because not only were we dealing with COVID, we also just almost immediately somersaulted into the strikes, which are still sort of kind of going on. And so that immediately put more pressure than probably was due onto the Japanese entertainment industry, because they are kind of the favorite at the moment, thanks to the second Asian invasion. I'm not really sure what to call this.
That. It really does feel like a second Asian invasion. Yeah. And also DreamWorks is on, animators I think are on strike right now, aren't they? Or they're heading towards that direction or something. I've been hearing rumors about that.
Yeah, something to that accord. I know that the video game voice actors are on it because of the AI cloning thing that's going on. So, but Pixar, I mean, DreamWorks probably would be too. I imagine most of the animators are, or did they settle? Either way, there's a lot of striking going on, which again, that at the time that caused like a huge freeze on production. And so we ended up with all this kind of like backlog for quite a while. We covered it here on Bounding, where like it was just like a complete desert as far as entertainment was for like a year. It slowed down to like early 2000s level of movie releases per year,
Yeah.
And that, of course, kicked back over to Japanese anime, and like a little micro Japanese miracle happened inside of the animation community and video game community, because like a surge of investment, a surge of demand just washed right up onto the shore, and that they had it on demand because their workforce was used to doing the remote work situation. They were comfortable dealing with the mask situation. So it was, the lockdowns were a bit of a reach, but not too much for them.
Actually, that's not true to an extent. Because from what my insider said is that the lockdowns really hurt the animators because they were used to working together in the studio, and
You got a point.
there was
Yep.
the thing is that how it hurt especially the newer animators is that kind of like with mangaka, how like them and their assistants kind of built a bond and it helped improve
Yes.
their art and stuff like that.
Synergy.
It's the synergy. Yeah, it's the same thing with the animators, and a lot of them became very depressed by being by doing remote work because that synergy wasn't there. And it was really, really hard on them. And it was the same thing with a lot of the higher ups too, like the directors and stuff. It really, really affected them, but it definitely affected the animators the most from what my Aniplex insider told me.
My bad. As I understood it, I thought the remote work was working out well, but my apologies.
Yeah. This is why I'm glad I have insiders to know about this. But yeah, the ones where the thing is there's like One Piece, for example, in terms of the mangaka, they were the first to like transition into remote work, in terms of like full remote work, and they were able to handle it okay. But I think it was Tabata that mentioned it, like how the assistants were able to do it and they were getting used to it. They were fine with it. But for like Tabata himself, it was like it just felt really weird because he was used to all the camaraderie and like the family atmosphere that all the assistants would have with the mangaka and stuff like that, and it was odd. But it's a lot harder in the anime industry for the animators than the mangaka than the manga industry, from what I've understood.
We have a meme just dropped in here while I was setting up the next segment. So we have this from Sakamoto. Hold on a second here. I'll figure out how to share it in just a second. I know what I'm doing. Trust me. And there's that. That's forever. There we go. And
that's cute.
Yeah, right. I'm not sure where these characters come from. Are these a Lohan Pokemon or?
No, I'm trying to remember where they're from. I think one of them is from. Are they from Precure? Like I think they are. I think they're from Precure.
Oh boy! Now that okay, that's forever. Thank you. I appreciate it though. Thank you very much. I'm not familiar with the characters, but quite clearly I'm amused to have them in the same picture with me, so I dig it. Thank you very much. If you'd like to meme me, feel free. I have quite a memeable persona, so feel free to take care of that. If you'd like, no problem. I have no issues. Unlike the issues going on with Melon Books. Probably shouldn't meme that, so... If you don't know, Manga Library Z was recently taken offline due to a funding situation brought on by Visa and Mastercard refusing to process donation payments and merchandise payments. So, what Manga Library Z was an archive for manga stretching back into the 70s, potentially the 60s, that either was limited run print or once in a lifetime print. And because of that, some of this stuff didn't exist in Shonen Jump. And Shonen Jump at the time was pretty much the most clean of the manga on the shelf you could buy. Japan has different decency laws than we do, and they are ever evolving with that. Let's put it that way. It's a very nice way to put it. The used schoolgirl panties joke is not so much a joke, and it was taken care of a long time ago at the end of the 90s, but there was a time when there wasn't an immediate reaction to that happened for a while. So we're still dealing with that culture, and this is where a lot of that manga came from, not the Japanese we know today. And so this is where a lot of the controversy gets born, is because that culture was comfortable mingling things that are like Hunter x Hunter and One Piece, not necessarily these properties, but things in the spirit of shonen, things in the spirit of young adult content with not full-on nudity, but very suggestive pictures of oiled-up Japanese models wearing bikinis in various compromising positions. And so because there is a Puritan outrage over other people's culture that is not hurting anybody. Let's make that clear. None of these girls were underage, even by international standards, when these pictures were put to print, okay? And for the sake of integrity, the entirety of the Manga magazine that contained these limited run manga were put into the archive. So presently, what's been going on is that the Visa and Mastercard companies will go out and they will see that what is perceived to be children's material, right? Because cartoons and comics are only for kids. They can't possibly be for adults. And so what they see is this children's media alongside what is obviously pornography. And so they say, we refuse to fund this. We refuse to process payments. Sorry, good luck with Bitcoin. Bye-bye. And they leave these people high and dry with no recourse whatsoever, okay? Meanwhile, on Japan's end, there's nothing legally wrong. There's nothing legally wrong on international standards either. It's just the payment processor doesn't want to be harangued by people who hate Japanese culture. There is a theory, though, okay? I don't mean to hog up this monologue, but I just want to set the table. So what the situation is there is a theory that Visa and MasterCard are reacting to Australia's pornography laws that made it uncouth to present any type of sexual material in association with what could be perceived as children's entertainment. And two, presenting characters that are otherwise not blatantly, obviously adult. Think Tsunade as the example, Rangiku. Characters who have very obvious adult features, presenting them in sexually compromising positions or in blatant sexual things, which again, were part of this archive. There were 18 plus manga and doujinshi on here that were very hentai. They were very hentai. And so that was all there. Let's not make any mistake. This wasn't some playground for children to hang out on. This was an archive of stuff that maybe rightfully fell out of print. I don't know, you know? And so what ended up happening was these laws in Australia could be influencing the payment processor's decision because Australia currently, their currency is, I think, trading better than the Japanese yen. And so when you're looking at a pure dollars to donut situation, you don't want to lose Australia's market for the sake of Japan's market. And again, this could come down to Western favoritism too, but this has been the closest theory that makes the most sense to me, considering we have this international globalized economy now, where everybody's laws everywhere has to play together very nicely, or somebody somewhere is going to get a fine the equivalent of several global GDPs, like what Russia did to Google the other day. So,
by the way, I posted the link to the full statement in the chat, but that to me,
I have the full statement. It's just in Japanese, so I was like, I can show that. It's right here.
I have it in Google Trans. I have the Google. No, I got the full. Yeah, that's the full link. But yeah, because there's more to it. Like because American Express does come into play, which we do need to mention. But the thing I do agree with you on it being probably Australia, but I do want to include. Go to the actual link. Go into the actual website because that's where it mentions American Express is in there. Because there's like dates and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's what I mean. But here's the thing: I do want to include possibly Canada in the conversation because Canada has weird laws about this, and I'm trying to remember what European countries do, but there's some European countries I think are weird on this too, as well. I just can't remember which one off the top of my head. But yeah, I have a feeling they're the ones that are coming into play here. But the thing that's interesting about this that needs to be talked about, and almost no one's talking about it, is that American Express is not involved with this yet. They are still accepting payments from American Express.
Right.
So it's interesting, isn't it, that American Express is probably going to get a bunch of more customers now.
Well, the solution that was presented was the JCB. Now these are Japanese domestic credit cards that have like what's it called? Oh, Gold Card. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Here in the US, we have a prepaid card system called Gold Cards.
Yeah.
And you can transfer cash into a credit card and then do whatever you like with it that requires a credit card. Similarly,
American Express does too.
Well, similarly, the JCB offers this for foreigners. So you can go to their website with the English extension. It's just that, it's JCB. If you just search it on Google, it'll bring you right there. Just JCB credit card, bring you right to where you need to go. And you can get set up there with your domestic card that then doesn't have this problem. All right, you're handled by a domestic Japanese bank. You're not handled by these corporations that, you know, have to deal with more than just their domestic market. So, and that's where this comes into like an issue. The censorship that's present in this situation is outrageous. Make no mistake, it's absolutely unacceptable that we live in a time we live in a society. It's absolutely abysmal that we live in a society, a time in this world where you can't have even a sectioned off. It's not like it's on the side of a bus. It's not like it's on a QR code that you can't look away from. It is quite literally just a website that you have to know the URL of that may be advertised occasionally. Okay. And that's what leads to stuff that censors things like this. Okay. We're only a hop, skip, and a jump before they tell us you can't have big boob anime girls. The Japanese communist feminists are already asking for this. That this is an impossible beauty standard, yet my co-host is just as anime girly as who's up on screen here. And so, you know, it's like, what do you mean it's an impossible beauty standard? I'm sorry. It's a skill issue is what it sounds like to me. But the situation that we're running into is just as that thumbnail from the video suggests, right? Japan needs help because the regulators in Japan refuse to acknowledge this. We need to enter into this equation Mr. Taro Yamada. And Mr. Taro Yamada is a freedom fighter in Japan. He has a history of advocating for open dialogue without restriction, meaning at the expense of offending people, he wants to open his mouth and say what he likes. And this is a social experiment in Japan because this is unheard of.
Yeah.
And so what he's tried to do is, as a result of Manga Library Z being taken down, and now Melon Books, he's gone and met with the Ministry of Economic Trade and Industry. Now, this is a very long write-up, as you can see here.
But
very
let's get
long
to the
write-up.
main part here. Let's get to the laws that are being acknowledged. I think that's kind of important to recognize here.
It's not necessarily, because what this is basically saying is it's a bunch of very legalese things that say we have no power to tell Visa and Mastercard or any global payment processor what to do. Japan has explicit laws that forbids the capture, I guess, of these global institutions. So thanks to the US, I assure you.
Well, there's also the fact that I've seen people like, Trump's going to do something. No, Trump is not going to do anything about it. He's not. It's a private company. Visa and Mastercard
he has no power.
They can do what they want. The thing that can come from this, though, is you can take companies like, as we're talking about, American Express. Right. American Express can take advantage of this and get more clientele. Yep. You could have other credit card companies come out and
here's the thing.
Take advantage of this.
We know that Mr. Musk is busy with Doge at the moment, but he has said before he wants to offer a payment processor. Now would be an excellent time as a fellow weeb to open up weeb cards, you know?
I mean, there's also, there's a Cash App, I think, uses Visa. I don't remember if they do or not. There's, I think PayPal does too, doesn't it?
Visa, PayPal's Visa, because that's what Eric July ran into a problem with, is Visa something to do with their prepaid situation.
Yeah, because otherwise I was going to be like, well, they could just take direct payment straight from PayPal.
Let's just look it up. Visa related.
Because I know like eBay takes direct payments from because it's required now for to buy something from eBay to take direct payment through PayPal.
They're in a partnership, but one doesn't own the other. So
yeah, so they could. So
they're
that's
in a
another
partnership.
That's another option too. Is taking direct
X-card.
payment.
Yeah.
X-card. But yeah, you could have direct payment via PayPal. Direct payment via there's also, well, Cash App is a lot more iffy because Cash App is only a US thing. But like PayPal, I don't understand why not PayPal take advantage of this. That's why I'm like, when you see like the too big to fail stuff, it's like, dude, screw Visa and Mastercard. Just start something else. Take advantage of it and take advantage of the business aspect of it and go for it.
And so this is what's important about what Mr. Yamada has to say. Now he says a little bit more about this above, but it's quite a long screed. It's just, you know, he's long-winded. Nice guy, long-winded.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to the issue of credit cards, I believe that there needs to be strong government involvement in order to guarantee freedom of trade and expression, as well as for the sake of maintaining infrastructure and economic security. This is an important issue, so we will continue to work on it tenaciously. Now, what his statements are meant to clarify is that he does not want government to have this power.
I agree.
He feels that it is very dangerous to have the government be able to tell payment processors what they have to and have not to process. Because when you give them permission to force a corporation to process a payment, you also give them permission to stop a payment. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so this is a very dangerous game to play. And much like Nerdigans pointed out, these alternative payment processors will either rise up or a brand new one like the X-card, as a member of the channel, Timon Meteor Herald, member of the channel points out here. The X-card, as I said, Elon wants to have his own payment processor. So you're looking at like a beginning of this sort of turning of the soil, the tilling of the soil, if you will. Much like we see it with media, where indie is rising to mainstream, and mainstream is headed off to history. Much that we might be seeing this in the banking institutions. Historically, starting your own payment processor or your own bank was very bad for your health. So
starting a business is very hard in general, well, especially if you're in California. It's very hard.
I mean more like banking mafia, not like.
Well, the banking mafia is a hard thing to. Well, I mean, it might as well be dealing with the mafia if you're starting a business in California, considering all the amount of regulations you have to deal with.
Oh, Gavin Newsom.
No, this is even before Gavin Newsom. I mean, my late significant other, he started, I want to say, like 2 businesses here in California, and it is a nightmare. It is.
You know, and Spencer has a point. You know, if Trump puts a call into Elon and says, "Hey, we got to block payments to TikTok," you know, are we gonna see that happen? I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you that Elon would say, "No, Trump, we can't exercise that order." That would be uncouth. I don't know. Wiping TikTok off the map would help Elon. You know, so I don't know. I can't tell you that he would err on the side of open markets like that, you know? I'm not saying that he wouldn't. I just can't guarantee it because there's a lot to gain with that. And that's where they're at with this, is that if they piss off the credit card companies, guess what? International banking becomes a very big headache all of a sudden, okay? Mm-hmm. And Japan does a lot of international business, particularly with the US. And so this is a big problem if we let it fester. And so the solution that was presented here is to reach out to our local congressman, you know, you're not like your statewide, but like your federal ones, you know, for your state, and say like, hey man, I know this isn't a top priority for you, but we need to talk about how they can debank Alex Jones. Now, again, let's not get into how you feel about that guy, but removing him from the economy is a bit extreme. Removing his ability to bank, removing his ability to really have any economic presence, mostly, you know, he's still able to make money selling supplements, but golly, it's pretty difficult. And so we should talk to our senators about that, because that's what leads to this conversation where payment processors are carrying out political action. And that's a good place where you can have a conversation about deregulating or re-regulating. I'm not sure what to do here, but you can have a conversation from that point of view of, this is not your position to take. If you have a question, please default to the banking institution within that country or within the international marketplace in which this sale is taking place. You, the payment processor, should not be making that decision. Please refer to the laws that exist on the books for these sales. And that might help. You know, if there is a law, you know, is that Taro in the corner? Well, he's not in the suit, right? Timothy's not in the suit. It's kind of a mannequin thing that he brings around with him. So they all have a thing. They all have a thing, and that Japan does this with like mascot characters. They're not all like you know, cute little chibi creatures, or like they're not all like, you know, Berkshire and Hathaway where they're all like super sand font, you know, serif font there with the gold inlay and eggshell colored cards, you know. Sometimes they're just cute little characters that stand in the corner and you feel like, yeah, I kind of want to help this guy because of his cute ass character over here just staring me down like a gunfighter. We do have a question. It says, Cider, I have a question. Does this cause people to go more to Japan for said content? Maybe physically go to Japan, yes. Inspires people to become like a mule, if you will, for this contraband content. Because what ends up happening is like you go onto Etsy and you can like buy banned manga, you know, the manga that Visa and MasterCard would not want you to have. And you can go on there and do that. Craigslist, Yahoo, Macari. Yeah, that's the one I keep forgetting. And you could go, you know, these sub-markets will be born out of that because people will go over there and become mules for it, you know?
There's also the increase in piracy. I mean, people will just will get it and then upload the scans to pirate websites. Oh, that's what it's going to do. It's just so it
incentivizes piracy as a form of revenge as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that that only hurts the mangaka, but whatever, you know.
Well, in this case though, the mangaka in this case, I think it would be a little bit different because I think the mangaka would maybe I'm wrong, but I think the mangaka would probably understand because mangaka want international readers to be able to read their stuff. They do. So like some mangaka,
that's the dream for a lot of them.
Yeah, so that's why a lot of mangaka actually are okay with piracy to an extent, is because they want international readers to read their content in any way they can because their series are held hostage by the publisher, so they can't exactly just like straight up release it to the West themselves. So.
Yep, we have Yixing Lao here saying it's almost as if some folks over there really want to make a Shimoneta future reality here. Yeah, how about that? You know, this whole it's like I tell people right now, most of the folks have this vision of the future that's one of two things. It's a smoldering crater full of zombies, or it's a concrete block with a AK-47 with Wish.com LED lights wrapped around it, duct taped to the side of the block. That's that's the vision of the future for most people, and that's why we keep steering into this cyberpunk stuff because it's just like, oh well, I've been told for 30 years this is how it's supposed to go. Corporations rule everything.
But the thing I got to bring up, and it's kind of going back to like the commie feminists in Japan. It's just straight out of the War on Sex Appeal arc in Fire Force. That's who Okubo wrote that arc about, was them. He was talking to those Karens that kept attacking them. Kept attacking him. Was over that because it was over Tamaki, because Tamaki was extremely lewd, and and the West does it too. They attack him over that. And I'm just like thinking to myself, every time I see this, I'm like, I just can't wait for that arc to get animated and to just break in the West, especially. It's going to break Twitter, it's going to break Reddit, and I'm just going to like sit back and just love it every second of it and be like, yeah, see, Okubo has proven his point, and you guys keep proving him right time and time and again on how you are just these prude Karens and how significant loot is. And also the war on reboots is just going to be amazing too. Given we're like really in the era of reboots and remakes and how people are sheep. It's just, I'm telling you, go read Fire Force. You will totally understand how incredible Okubo's writing is when you get to the right before the cataclysm. You will see how right he is.
Well, we have Scooby-Doosh here for $2 Canadian saying, hi, Xena.
Hey, he's not causing chaos for once. You're not causing chaos, kitty. Be good kitty.
That look was like, for now.
For now.
But yeah, we got Tellum here saying Fire Force was awesome. Yep. And sounds like it's going to wreak havoc on the West. So I can't wait for it.
Yeah,
so
it'll be next. I think it's next summer. I think it's coming.
This is the next big battle that's coming up. Okay, so what do they do in response to Trump? Putting him in these media things, making him into the One Piece villain. That's not going to work. Because that's just going to make the One Piece villain iconic and not the characters in the show anymore. He'll end up stealing the show because of the memes. So this is over with, right? You know that the One Piece live action's over with. So here's the thing. I'm not trying to advocate for this, but my mind's like, you know what they could do? Gender swap Trump and Vance and put them on a bikini island for volleyball championship tournaments. They have to fight for America's freedom with volleyball as women. And that's the only way I think you could truly get to them, because that's just weird enough for them to go, what the?
Might as well just put him on Okama Island and have him chase Sanji and have it be part of his training.
Sure, why not? I mean, just roll the whole thing through, man. You know? I can't look. We're apparently going to get. Oh, this came out the other day. I don't know if we caught it or not, but we're apparently getting the JoJo and the Cowboy Times. Steel Ball Run. We're getting a Steel Ball Run anime.
Steel Ball Run anime got announced
about this Gyro. About Gyro. So this is going to center on Gyro, but it'll involve Valentine. Because those two are like, bang. You can't have Gyro without Valentine. So that's going to happen. So we'll finally get to see, like, the avatar of Trump in the JoJo universe. I'm so glad.
God. Oh, God.
It's beautiful. Everything's coming together. It's all aces. All aces. And speaking of just wonderful things, like, look at all the stuff that Pokemon decided we weren't good enough to have.
Yeah. So this was a couple of days ago. And let's be real, the Game Freak leaks have been coming out for what, a month now? This is when it started. But yeah, a few days ago, 4chan dropped like all these leaks of what was supposed to be in Pokemon Sun and Moon. And wow, did they cut out a lot of stuff. Like some of this stuff could be like actual games on their own. And I think the Z move is supposed to be ended up being something else in a different game.
Well, we haven't got there yet. We don't know what Z moves are yet. We need to tell the audience what Z moves are. So here we go. Originally in Pokemon Sun and Moon, instead of Z moves, a type of power-up compared to Mega Evolutions called Guardians would have been implemented instead. Depending on the Miracle Stone a Pokemon has, their type can change, and a Guardian avatar would appear next to them with the same type. Guardians act as a fifth move for your Pokemon, and depending on the type, different effects would activate. For example, Electric Guardians make all Pokemon on the field Special Edition. SE. Super excellent? Anyway, to electric moves. I still don't know what SE means, because Invincible starts with an I. Anyway, Water Guardian brings down the SPD of the opposing
Pokemon. Like the special defense for the SPD, which
that special defense. Either that or speed, spelled weird.
Oh, but I think it's the SE is super effective.
Oh, okay, yeah, there we go. That's a word that starts with an E. Yeah. And so your Water Guardian brings down the special defense of the opposing Pokemon on the field, and the Ghost Guardian acts as a field-wide protect. You receive Miracle Stones to summon Guardians by visiting Miracle Mountain in Alola. There you go. There's your Alolan, whatever that thing is.
That would have been kind of cool, considering the region Alola is based off of.
Mm-hmm.
it would have worked really nicely. I don't understand why they cut that off.
Now I'm opening these hopefully in the order you posted them.
Yeah.
Because I think I got them in the right order. So you'll have to let me know. So next one we're headed on to is we're talking about Niji now.
Yeah,
and
this is still Sun and Moon. So yeah,
right. And this appears to be more of a role play angle. So when we hear Niji from now on, imagine that you're having a more immersive experience than traveling around the routes and gyms to collect badges and money and experience. This is a more thematic experience, I guess, immersive, if you will. So another planned mode for Niji is Pokemon Dance, a special facility where you can compete against other trainers as well as friends and people online who you don't know in dance competition. It's a minigame where you control both the main character and your Pokemon, keeping the best rhythm with the music similar to Dance Dance Revolution. It is a tournament-style competition where the more you win, the higher your rank increases, and you gradually become an idol in the region.
So it's like Pokemon DDR.
Well, this is a good separate game. Like you said, this is a good separate game. Why didn't they do this? Like, there's so much Pokemon music, and you can remix that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, tell me that, like, what is that Marigold? What's the one that has the mall in silver? Marigold City, right? The Marigold City Mall, right? Isn't that what it is?
Oh God.
I can't play the music. We'll get straight. Goldenrod City, right? The Goldenrod City Mall. And that just low a snare, just put a regular hip hop snare drum behind that, and that is neck throbbingly good right there. And so, like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? This is perfect. Like, we heard about this about the Switch 2, or as I call it, the Switch Go. That has a full room motion tracker, so you don't need a controller. Is what they're aiming to create is a HTC Vive situation where you only need the wrist trackers and the ankle trackers, so it knows where to place you on the map in relationship to your 3D motion trackers up on the corners of the room. And so that would be great for this. You can dance along with your Pokemon, and then as your family gets interested in shaming themselves, they can also join in, and the tracker will read them, and they can join in and compete with you. And then strangers that you don't know can make fun of your dance moves from a world away. So it sounds great.
Like, I hope they do bring this back, but I doubt it at this point. I don't know what they'll do. Like, yeah, it's Goldenrod. See, I knew. Haha.
Right, Spencer knows. If you don't know, along with being the editor-in-chief, Spencer is also the knower of all things. So, at least as far as we're concerned, Spencer knows everything. So what Spencer says, that's how it is, you know? And so, Timon, the Meteor Herald, a member of the channel, says Pokemon is a sport game, not a JRPG. Every version is the same game with a different roster. Pretty much. You know,
I mean, look at Pokemon Stadium. Pokemon Stadium even had mini games that we could play.
Right. He's the mighty Googler, right? He's a mighty Googler. But we do have more to go through.
There's a lot. There's Pokemon Idol, which is Poke Stage, which is Pokemon Idol. Oh my God, this would have this would have been a fun a game on its own. Go ahead and read it, and they'll see why.
Oh sure. You know, despite the controversy associated with Friday Night Funkin', it would be pretty close to that, is what it sounds like they're describing. So, tying into this mode is another special mode made specifically for the main character. It's called Pokemon Stage. In this mode, the Pokemon take a back seat, and instead the MC are the focus, as they are an idol performing for their fans. There's just one guy there. Oh wait, no, those aren't. I thought that was a bush. I'm sorry, I thought those were bushes, and I was like, there's just one guy. He's a simp. Thanks for being there, pal. Good for you. But anyway, he's surrounded by Green Gang members, apparently from the Powerpuff Girls. But anyway, they're simps. But as they're an idol performing for their fan, performances are completely customizable, including special unlockable actions the MC can take on stage. Twerking was not an option, okay?
No.
They're not completely customizable.
No.
Depending on their performance, the player gets an audience rating from the crowd, which can affect the, oh God, you can die. You can die from this.
HP.
Oh no, you can die.
It's like Pokemon Guitar Hero.
It's like, right? Like you know how like you like talent competition in school, like show and tell, and like you screw up one word, you're like, I want to die right now, and then like your health bar literally collapses and you die. Do you wake up outside of a Pokemon center like you do in all your Pokemon
Oh my
things?
God!
Is that what happens? You know, it could be hip points, right? Instead of hip, it could be hip points.
Yeah.
But I doubt it. You'll definitely die if you screw up. That sounds very Japanese.
Yeah.
So, you can even invite your Pokemon to perform with you on stage so that everybody dies together in some kind of Jonesian sewer slide ritual. It's great. But there you go. Imagine trying to cut a rug with that thing right there. The Brontosaurus looking thing. I bet it's got some moves.
Oh my God.
It's gonna be one, folks. Some of these are okay, but I can see why they left them on the table there. Like you could die if you screw up your dance moves. It's like Dark Souls, right? It's like wrong. You died,
and you killed your Pokemon too in the process.
Right? Wasted.
Some of them like
Twerkymon, yeah, Twerkymon. Is that? Yeah, Somali needs Squid Game for influencers. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, well, he's gonna be Squid Game, that's for sure. That fellow. But we'll move on to more whatever this is. So another planned feature for the role-playing function was Pokemon Comics. Keep a record of your journey each time you complete an event in-game, whether it's story-related or event a new capture. New pages will gradually unlock, and you can post them onto your trainer card. Certain pages will unlock unless you unless you complete the event first.
I think that was kind of cool. That would have been a fun thing to do.
Okay, so what I'm getting is like you defeat Brock and then like a manga page with like the highlight reel from that, like the John Madden, and then he's used the rock attack and. You know, well, is that...
That's what it kind of seems like to me.
Okay. That kind of would have been interesting. I think we remember a Kamen Rider did that a few times. Oh, no, he had a buddy. That's right. Kamen Rider 01 had a buddy that would draw all of his battles in manga style. So, yeah, that's clever. You know, if it's going to look like that, but it's like, if it's a picture book, screw it. I don't need a picture book of all of my conquests. I want manga pages of my conquests. But,
no, but the next one, Pokemon Heroes, though... that we're gonna get to it needs to be a game.
Okay, so you want to do Pokemon Heroes first? Okay.
Is that the next one after that?
No, it was the Pokemon dollhouse, but it's okay. We can get to Pokemon Heroes first. It's okay. So
yeah.
Here we go. Another planned mode for the roleplay function was Pokemon Hero Time. In this mode, the player can become a superhero and tackle events made for the mode. When in superhero mode, you can only have one Pokemon in your party. You can have a sidekick, just like that character. You remember the guy that dressed up like, it wasn't Zubat.
A Geiger Man?
Geiger, yeah, it was the guy, he was the Batman, but it wasn't Zubat, it was the other Bat character. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Geiger Man.
Yeah. Oh, man. Although battles are standard, each character ends with a finishing move. That is the
game. Why?
That is a combination of a main character skill and their partner Pokemon. Oh wow, you can have a rider kick with Pikachu's Thunderbolt attached to it.
That would have been so sick.
That's still a good idea.
Each quest. Why is this a game? Like why game for?
It's true. Each quest acts similar to an episode of the Pokemon anime, including an opening theme song and an ending theme song for each quest. Like a Persona situation.
Yes!
Wow. As special oh yeah, it is. It's just Persona. It's Pokemon Persona. Quests take place in an alternate world where the rules of Pokemon can be different. Yeah, you're right, Nerdigans. I think they should do Pokemon Hero Time.
Like what? This would be such an epic game.
Yeah, this is pretty good. I like this, you know?
This was gonna be in Sun and Moon. Like, I understand why they it sucks that they cut it from Sun and Moon, but like seriously, why have this not be a game? Seriously, Game Freak, you should make this a game.
Well, you're right, because again, like it's consider this, okay? Kamen Rider just had its 50th anniversary. So having a limited edition mobile game that's just like 10 levels of playing as the last 10 writers that were like superstar writers, whatever, pull names out of a hat. Don't do Common Rider Shin. Don't do that one. But anyway, Shin Common. Don't do that. Anyway, so but anyway, that would have been really neat that you could have had like the various Common Rider theme Pokemon kind of characters that all have special moves attached to the Pokemon. Maybe you have the Pokemon jump into a card because they said the rules can work differently here. So rather than being stored in a Pokeball, they're stored in cards, and that card is crossed across the belt. And instead of getting like the upgrade from the show, you get a Pokemon themed upgrade that has a finisher attack. And that could have been on a mobile game. That didn't have to be like a full-blown Switch release. That could have been a mobile game you guys could have sold for 99 cents and probably have bought your own private island within a week. So
could have done like a crossover thing and have it like connect with the Switch too.
Sure. I mean, there could have been like a lot of different functions available here, honestly, and it's really annoying that a little grasshopper Pokemon. Yeah, that's right, that one. And yeah, the Common Rider Heracross. Yeah, right. The clock up. Yeah, exactly. And again, they could have done this. They could have fused because again, Common Rider is based on bugs. There's a lot of bug Pokemon. There you go. You've got a nice little celebration of bug Pokemon. Mobile game would have been great. You got all these opening and ending credit stuff. Sell the soundtrack to it. Please, if there's anybody that has any connection to Pokemon, please let them know. This is a genius idea on its own. Yeah, the Venonat Rider, absolutely.
Yeah, or like a Venomoth Rider too, where you're actually flying on it. There's like you could do a Beautifly, or what's the other one I was thinking off the? Oh, there's like Pinsir you could use, which would be sick, or Cider, or Scizor would be a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be such a good one to do.
I mean, that's a Beetleborg. That's just a Beetleborg, you know? And so, again, and then you have Charizard, which also translates well into rider armor. And you have this big flame attack where he flies up in the air and then does that really long rider kick down from the sky like a Common Rider Wizard. And that would be fine. You did so many different ones you can do. And that's just one of those things that,
It's like a we were robbed moment here. Like this sucks. This should have been same with Pokemon DDR. It's like, dude, you Game Freak, what are you doing?
Seriously, I'm surprised they didn't release that in Japan, considering how powerful DDR is still.
Yeah, this would have been a great arcade game.
Mm-hmm. It could have been the timing. COVID could have hit at the time this idea was being put on the table, and there was just no market immediately. So. But we do have the Pokemon Dollhouse, and this is, again, continuing with the role-play style of this, rather than just a straight-on trainers versus trainers sort of thing. And so, another planned mode was the Pokemon Dollhouse. This was made to encourage fans of the Pokemon Treta to play with the main series games. You can play with up to 6 Pokemon toys and put them in various dollhouses and interact with them in a low-maintenance mode for everyone. You can even scale them to take pictures. Along with this mode was figure battles, where the player collects various figurines of all kinds of trainers. Figures have their own teams, rarities, and ranks. Several trainers can even have figures that feature different poses. Oh, golly gosh darn. Oh, Jacob's here.
I want to be the very best, and no one ever was. Doom, doom, doom.
At Pokemon Dollhouse.
Mm-hmm. Was it the little Polly Pocket of like the Pokemon universe? It's like
virtual, right?
Yeah, it's like a virtual Polly Pocket kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is it like one of those little like Tikaichi like keychain things? Like you feed it for like 3 days and you get bored, then it dies. Then you just cycle over again.
They're plastic.
They're plastic. It's like it's kind of like
plastic,
toy. So. Yeah, it's like toy photography kind of thing. That's what it seems like.
Yep. If the limited animation that Pokemon have already is too much for you, here's this. So there you go. But we also had this. This is again for the role play function. Niji was team battles. Create a team of 5 players, including the player. Okay, 5 trainers. There we go. So I guess you could just invite NPCs in. So, anyways, create a team of 5 trainers, including the player, to compete in large-scale battles in a unique facility. To create a team, you must recruit trainers via various methods and after meeting different conditions. After that, you can train your team members, change their team lineups, or even send them on journeys to raise levels and possibly catch new Pokemon. The IVs and other characteristics are randomized.
Like, that sounds like another thing that would be a separate game.
I don't know if it really has any point to it, though. You're just kind of like battling more. You know, that's all you're doing. It's kind of like a Final Fantasy sort of thing. Even then, it doesn't have much of a role.
Pokemon. But the Poke piece, though, this was the one I mentioned yesterday on Barroom. It's like, dude, like this is like the Puzzle League that could have been like a sequel to Puzzle League. It looks like so much fun, and I'm pissed off we didn't get it.
It's like a matching game or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. A nice and easy to play game, easy in between training. So it's like one of those loading screen games, maybe.
Yeah.
What it was.
It's a cute little mini game.
So when we started talking about this, I was talking about the like leaving the traditional Pokemon space. And so here is the Legend Gate. Okay. So if you have difficulty just with the patience of catching legendary Pokemon, this is a zoo for catchable legendary Pokemon. So here we go. In the roleplay function, a new mode known as Legend Gate was planned. It can be played alone or with friends after passing through a gate. After passing through a gate, players were sent to a new parallel world. The world is different depending on if you are playing alone or with friends, as the multiplayer worlds has obstacles that need to be solved as a team. Sometimes you may even have to split up with your team, but the worlds are fully explorable together. In the world, you can even encounter rare and legendary Pokemon. Work together with your teammates to conquer these stronger Pokemon. You can also do missions that will also allow you special encounters. These missions would change depending on the version of the game you have, and the more times you connect with other players, the more missions you would unlock.
Like, this sounds like something you would see in a traditional like Pokemon game.
Yeah, this is a Safari Zone on steroids.
Yeah.
You know. And then there was Pokemon Survival Island, which it sounds more like Metal Cooler, right? Like Cooler's Revenge for Pokemon. That's what I get out of this. So
yeah.
It's part of the roleplay function, so here we go. A giant facility that spans an entire island. Robotic Pokemon roam the island freely, and it's your job, along with 3 other friends, to come together to defeat them. The robots, not your friends.
I don't like all this responsibility.
You can, yeah, right. I just wanted to dogfight. What am I doing here fighting robots? You can also use NPCs as teammates if you don't have any friends. The goal is to defeat as many robots.
Just pause there and soak that in for a second. It's like, here, if you're a lonely son of a bitch who has no friends or anyone remotely, you can qualify as a friend.
We got you covered. We got you covered. You weirdo. We got you covered.
Here's a computer program that's literally keeping you from ending it all.
Right. Take out your frustration of not being able to associate with your fellow human on these robot Pokemon. But the goal is to defeat. The goal is to defeat as many Pokemon as possible within the time limit. You pick up to 3 Pokemon, and you play as them in this mode. Similar to the Synchro Machine, you can use any of the 4 attacks your Pokemon know to combat the robotic Pokemon. Unfortunately, there are no Pokemon centers to heal. Players must utilize the berries throughout the island.
I kind of like that aspect of it. It's there's no Pokemon centers. You have to, like, I don't know if it would allow you to bring in potions and stuff, but if not, then it's like true like survival.
Hey, look, all I need is rare candies and Master Balls. I don't need any other trash.
Why does he keep punching me in the Master Balls? So here we go with this one. This was another one that was kind of out there. So they tried introducing these new sort of battle modes in a bit of an Overwatch sort of fancy way, and Spencer's here to talk to us about it. So
You know what that reminds me of? That robot one you guys were just talking about? It reminds me of in the anime when they end up on like that island.
Yeah, the island of giant Pokemon in season 1.
Yeah, and they have it in like the intro, and when you're a kid, you're like, whoa, look at that giant Charizard, and it never gets that big. It's only for one episode.
Yeah.
That's
so
all.
then there was this one. So they wanted to introduce more battle modes, I guess. So we had illusionary battle, exclusive to a battle facility. Standard battles, however, every Pokemon has their abilities changed to illusion. Trick battle room, exclusive to a battle facility. Standard battles, however, trick room is always activated. Level 10 battle, exclusive to a battle facility. Standard battles where all Pokemon are level 10. Why?
It sounds like Pokemon Stadium, where you.
That's what I was gonna say, Nerdigans. It really sounds like the.
Do you want to play Pokemon Stadium 2, but you don't have $270 to buy from your local retro store?
Seriously, I don't even have that. I don't even have that one. I stuck with the first one.
Yeah, no.
My brother has my cartridge.
It's like Pokemon Stadium 2 and like Def Jam Fight for New York are like the golden gooses of like that era of video games.
So in GTA, you can open up a private server and do like the random switch mode. And so here's switch battle. And so this is also in a battle facility. And it says elite Pokemon changes at the start of every turn. So like you're fighting a level 100 Mewtwo in the legend area. Switch battle kicks on. All of a sudden your level 2 Pichu just catches like a 100 psychic attack right to the face.
I kind of like that one because it's just there's no competitive angle to it. It's just chaos.
It's just chaos. It's like, screw you, level 2s. You're getting owned today. You thought you were here to suck up that XP? It's
you thought you were getting the
execution
XP
day.
share? Not this time.
Yeah.
You're coming off the bench, kid. Full
Here's your
battle.
radio moment.
So here's a 6x6 battle. There's full battles where the winner is decided based on who wins the most games. The infinite battle, exclusive to the battle facility, a rogue-like battle where you continuously battle one after the other. You can switch your Pokemon depending on the opponent. Take advantage of recovery moves with a lot of PP, and abilities. And so
that's never not going to be funny, by the way, folks.
Right.
It has been like 20 years. It's been like 30 years. It's still funny.
PewDiePie turned it into like a whole thing too. So I mean,
no, I'm all out of PP.
Yeah.
I
Small
need
PP,
to
big
recharge
PP.
my PP. I need more PP. Come
How
on.
big is your PP?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I don't think you have enough PP to play this game, kid. Anyway, this is the no abilities. This is standard battles. However, Pokemon can activate their abilities, so they're just
basically like Gen 1 and Gen 2.
they're just dorks. So then we have for Rainbow Game Freak, we're planning a smartphone app called the Pokemon Breeder, and I see why they didn't put it out. Forgive the phrasing.
Yeah, you just take your Pokemon to the daycare center. You just drive around in your little bicycle for a while. Then the egg comes up, and then we don't ask any questions where that egg came from.
Right.
There's no guarantee that's even their egg. They might just stole it and given it to you.
And your Pokemon you dropped off won't look you in the eye anymore. You know?
This one actually sounds like this one actually sounds like it's what you've been talking about, Jacob, because at least from what I'm reading, Nerdigans, it's like another app where I just transfer an egg, and then when I go out for my day, it just does all that stuff. So I don't have to play it and walk around with it. I would do that every day over using up a slot.
I took my 2 Eevees to the daycare center and I got a Vaporeon. And I was like, how did this happen? And I went back the next day and it was all boarded up and no one knew what happened to it.
Tried to call a phone number, disconnected.
Meant to attract a new smartphone-focused fan base, it was a game where you could become a Pokemon breeder and raise Pokemon from eggs, take them on walks, groom them, or just give them a meal. You could do a wide variety of things to raise those Pokemon into their best. You could also connect with other players and include an auto battle feature to further develop your Pokemon along with others. It was a free app, right? Free to play. And also can send Pokemon from Rainbow to the app to raise them through there as well. So apparently, whatever Pokemon Rainbow was intended to be, excuse me, Sun and Moon's early name, that's where it is. So, you were going to be doing Rainbow, the situation, so you could transfer to your smartphone. So if you had like your level 2 Pichu that just got his face kicked in by that Mewtwo, you could treat him real nice on the app.
Boost him up. Like this is what's insane to me is it feels like at this point, if they had actually gone through with this, it's like, why are we even doing egg hatching mechanics at all anymore? You're like eliminating all of it. So why not just go, oh, I'm at the breeder. You got an egg. What's this? It's hatching. And like, I don't understand why we don't just get there. That's clearly what Nintendo wants to do. It's what we all want.
Yeah, Leslie Tarkin says a good Pokemon game would be to battle in zero gravity. Sure, space Pokemon.
We can barely get like a good 3D battling Pokemon game on like a 2D space. I don't know if Nintendo's ready for a 3D like area. I don't, or Game Freak, whoever
these people are,
not even close.
No.
And Timon says it's a Tamagotchi app. Yeah, it's kind of like a Fitbit Pokemon thing that came out. So here you go.
It's like an even worse Tamagotchi though, because you're just talking to an egg. You're not even talking to like a thing, right? Like you just hi egg. It's
and then it turns into a Togepi, and so it's like 60% egg.
Yeah.
But I gotta mention this to especially Jacob and Spencer. The Pokejob stuff, it's very much like the assignments that you get in the Pokemon Adventures manga Gold, Silver, and Crystal when they reveal all the different titles to each of them. Like Gold is a breeder. Red it was like what
Red's the battler.
Yeah, Red's the battler.
Chris is the capturer.
Yeah.
Yellow is the evolver.
I thought Yellow was wasn't Yellow the healer?
Probably.
I'm sorry. I'm never gonna laugh at someone being unironically labeled the breeder.
I know. That's so funny.
It feels like a 90s Attitude Era wrestler name.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But yeah, that's what Pokejobs was ironically making me think of when I saw it. And even the person that posted it on 4chan, one of the responses to it was like, oh my God, this is literally from Pokemon Adventures.
Yeah.
But real quick, before we go live to our show, can we highlight Leslie's last comment there? Just in the chat, just real quick. That is such a deep fried reference. Like I thought my reference from last week was deep fried. Like you're going way back with that reference list.
You're going so far back with that reference that they haven't tried to remake that in like the last 5 years.
And they shouldn't. And they should not.
I know they shouldn't. But you know Hollywood, they'll remake anything as long as they can get the rights to it. If they remember it exists, it gets a remake tomorrow.
Before we go to 01 Cider, just show them the Pokemon ride stuff because that Sharpedo is just so stupid.
They're wearing clothes now, so that's a plus. Except for the Frieza cycle down here. But
that's Sharpedo, man. Like
we'll get to him. But this is
the Tauros one is my favorite still. It's just like
Tauros
a
taxi
tractor. Yeah.
What is that Machamp one?
Piloted by a child.
Machamp one's so stupid.
Yeah, so we'll
it was like Terry Crews in Friday After Next.
So
now you want to talk about deep fried references.
Here we go. So as you can see, Machamp's like, I can't believe this is how people are going to ride me. You know? And of course you've got your very sporty Charizard over here with this nice Honda Shadow bike mount here.
It was like Machamp is saying that, you know, if you don't have my money by 8 p.m. tonight, me and you will get real acquainted.
I got my slapper bitch gloves on.
Those are his work gloves. He's like, oh,
yeah. I call it light work because it's housework. There's another deep fried, huh? But anyway, check it out. Apparently, Lapras has its own independent flotation device because this is a whole boat on its own, you know, attached to Lapras. Then Horse.
What is that abomination?
Yeah. It has like
a Clydesdale thing. I totally forget its name. It's one of the newer ones.
It just looks like something that needs to be put down. Like, you know, it's just
well,
for its own sake.
It has the motorcycle chopper high handles, and I don't understand. I don't understand. but Sharpedo pisses me off. Okay. So just take a look at this. You have one handle on one side, so this means that you're going to sit with that fin right here. Look at the place. Your hands are here. That thing is the fin is right here.
That is a Pokemon design from an animator who's been hell hotshot since 1997, and he's like, "We're at 758 Pokemon now. We need new ones."
I only wanted to draw. I thought I was only drawing Pokemon for like 2 seasons. I've been here for like 40 years. I wanted to draw Gundam.
I haven't seen my kids for Christmas in the last 6 years.
I'm just making whatever.
You want me to turn Sharpedo into a motorcycle? Is that what you're telling me right now? And that I God bless him. That's the best they could come up with. Because what else were you supposed to do with like half a shark?
It looked like it got eaten while it was trying to run away.
And,
the Taurus one is kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
It's just a 4-wheeler. It's just a Kawasaki 4-wheeler. That's all it is. So, but yeah, Pokemon Ride. I can't wait for just more of this to come out. Hopefully, they pick it up again and try another time with this because what a bizarre idea, right? Like
we put a 4-wheeler on that thing that Moses smited.
But I want to. We saw what Ekans had. He had like this little.
You mean Arbok?
Arbok. We saw what Arbok had. He had like this like
and Cobra, come on,
jacket
right
that looked like he had little stubby hands. It was like yeah, you know.
And the Frieza.
The Frieza bike. You know,
the Frieza one's great. That one's unironically awesome.
Just ridiculous. You know, I hope they review it. It would be like a horse race one would be fun with Pokemon horse racing. Like, come on, you do dog fighting. Well, you got a moral resistance to horse racing now.
Like. Here's my thing with the wheezing, coughing Frieza one is like, yeah, it's a little ridiculous on its face, but it floats, and I don't see any reason why I can't like ride on it over oceans, right? Like I should just be able to go like ride it on land and then just keep gliding. There's no reason for me to have to get out my super decked out Sharpedo. I refuse.
Sharpedo. Yeah, well, you know, just wear clothes. This looks really uncomfortable when you're naked, though. You know. Call me crazy. But it's probably time to start 0-1.
And the shark skin's all rough. I just thought about that. Like, so the fin's going to be there, like, slap it. Yeah, it's not fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Imagine when it gets wet. So it's like right there. Right. It's just
you know what? It's probably a good thing there's no Pokemon region in Louisiana because I can only imagine like the exotic Pokemon fried foods that would be at the fair.
Oh my God.
Give it time.
I would eat them all.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta eat them all.
But on that bombshell, we'll see you on 0-1 in just a few minutes.
The sky, you feel that heat, it's about to fly. This ain't just hoops, this your life for the line. We fighting for more than peace this time. And please don't give up on this, my valiant heart. In the face of fear, I promise I won't fall apart. Through the fire and the rain, for you I'll stand tall. Take my hand, and together we'll never fall. I promise.
Jeff was beginning to wonder, who are these people? Why were they the stars of every television show he tried watching? Did he eat edibles and forget? Forget what? Jeff asked the British voice inside of his head. You'll find out, Jeff. You'll find out.
at this point, I'm convinced that Snow White is going to make a total of maybe $10.
I just want to point out that Nerdigans has not touched a basketball since she was in 4th grade. And that was to give the basketball back to the kids who were actually playing basketball.
First it was Athena, and now I guess James Bond is going to get Blackwash too.
Man-made horrors beyond our comprehension. Every day, live, for your entertainment.
That's what we're here for. We are here to document all of the absolutely dumb things that have gone down this week. And trust us, folks, especially compared to last week, this week it's impressive how much dumb stuff has come out, from Rachel Zegler to James Bond to Percy Jackson to Star Wars. It's all here, and we're going to be talking about it all tonight here on 01. And yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed their past hour over with Cider and Nerdigans on Tokyo Happy Hour. But now Jacob and I are here. It is time for 01. And yeah, I obviously I've been around here for a little bit, so I'm not really in the same groove as I normally am, where I say hello to everybody. But so instead of saying hi to everybody, all of my friends on the panel, I'll shout out the chat. Guys, I see a bunch of you are here already tonight, from Timon to Yi Ching to Leslie to Luigi to Sakura Mida to DK to so many more people. I'm going to scroll up because I saw so many more of you. Kirby, Kenneth, who else is here? Bowsette to Hillam. Yes, guys, thank all of you, Scooby Douche, for coming out and hanging out with us tonight here on 01. With that said, how are you guys all doing? I mean, obviously we know how Cider and Nerdigans are doing. Jacob, how are you doing over there?
Honestly, it was a pretty solid week. I can't complain too much.
I'm glad it's been a solid week for you. It has not been a solid week for, I'd say, Disney as a whole. Probably, like,
it's never a solid week
genuinely,
for Disney.
But even like this week, even more so than usual, I am genuinely stunned at just. It feels like more than ever, everybody is aware and okay with admitting that Disney is basically speed running their destruction.
Yeah, and they're trying to get the gold medal. That's what they're really trying to do at this moment. I mean, it's been bad for a couple of years now, and you think that at some point there will be somebody in a board meeting saying that, hey, maybe we're not doing the right things, and then maybe they threw that person out of the room and hired somebody else. Who knows? But at this point, it seems like they're just committed to full on implosion with everyone in the building.
It's implosion. It's almost like self-sabotage, right? So I figure I guess we'll just break into it here. But you want to pull up the Rachel Zegler story, Cider?
Well, just a quick aside before we jump into it, we did have a request from Sakura Mita. Sakura Mita wanted me to show this to Jacob. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's Precure like I think it is, right, Spencer?
Yes.
I knew it.
Speaking of horrors of human creation beyond comprehension, that's one of them.
Anime is real now. Trump's finally delivering on his campaign promise from the first time around.
That's true.
All right, anime is real.
Anime is real. Speaking of real, it's about to get real for Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, so this is sort of a good prelude into the Disney shooting itself in the foot, because as we all know, celebrities are insane. And obviously we knew that in the aftermath of Trump's reelection last, what was it, Wednesday, I think, right? I don't know what right? Yeah, like Tuesday, what? Oh, right, Super Tuesday, that's what it's called. So last Tuesday, Trump won the presidency again. Everybody has been melting down, from people like Mark Wade to Mark Cuban. Just pretty much every celebrity you think of is melting down across the board. Now, this is something we all kind of expected and we all kind of knew was coming. What really gets me is that in the case of Rachel Zegler here, nobody. Where are the PR managers? Where are the?
I'm so glad you brought up that question, because literally every time this woman tweets, this is a live reaction of the PR managers over at any film that she's ever worked at ever.
Yeah.
You'd have to.
Oh, yeah.
Anything she says, anything she tweets, anything that every time she opens her mouth or puts her hand on her fingers, I mean, this is literally all they do.
It's I can't fathom how she keeps getting away with it. Sounds so nefarious, but how does nobody come and either give her media training or tell her to stop talking to the media or just
stop talking, period.
Just stop talking, period.
Just stop
because
she needs to be locked away in the same location they locked Ezra Miller in when they were promoting the Flash movie. Like, they need to be locked in the same location until the Snow White movie comes out.
They bring him to the premiere. That's when we'll let him out.
Spencer's microphone just took off for the moon.
Oh no, is it doing that thing again? Did it spike
that,
again?
You had that weird launch thing where you just took off for a minute there, and then you came back down. Your voice came back down.
Very weird. Very weird. Yeah, OBS likes to do that sometimes. But like Jacob said, every time Zegler opens her mouth about something, it is the most embarrassing thing possible for not just her, but like the company. If you guys remember, obviously the big one, without going back to the footage, was when she was at D23 and she basically smack talked the entirety of not just Snow White, but sort of Disney princesses and the Disney Corporation and all their output.
Weird.
We've got to update the story for modern times. It's not about love. Nobody wants to see that. It's creepy.
The fairest of them all.
The fairest of them all doesn't mean skin. It actually means, I don't even know what she said, like judgment.
The fairest is in like judgment. She's like the nicest lady that ever niced.
Which is great. That's who you want for your monarch, right? The person who's super nice to everybody all the time and doesn't push around. That's who you want.
It's like the pirates that never steal anything.
But at least they had a leader. They had Larry. Well, no, he was the first mate, so I don't even remember who the leader was of that anymore.
Jesus.
But what? It was not Jesus. Jesus was the admiral in command back on land. He was not on that. Well, technically he was on that boat, but he was
want to get into it.
On that. I know. If we want to get into scripture and theology, we can say yes, Jesus was on that boat with them.
Exactly. With that tomato and cucumber, you bet. Exactly how it went
down.
When
two or more vegetables are gathered in my name, I am there.
Oh my god.
That's why it's always Bob and Larry, guys. Come on, I'm blowing your minds here.
This is the show of deep fried references.
Yes,
oh, wow.
If you weren't born before like 2000 tonight, you're probably not going to get anything out.
No,
of it.
I feel Spencer. When you said that, my mind immediately went to the ranch dressing ad where like all the people are in the valley and there's wherever 2 or more vegetables are.
God, if we don't move on, we're all going to be singing the bunny song for like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, right.
But yes, Rachel Zegler, if you guys remember back then during D23, she basically smack talked the entire concept of Snow White, weird, all that stuff. My green screen's going a little nuts, so I'm a little distracted. But if you remember after that, to the point Jacob and I are making about her just being a PR nightmare, after that statement came out and she, totally virtue signaled all over the corpse of the animated Snow White, nobody liked it. And I don't just mean like people on our side or people who are Disney stans. I mean the wide range of, people out there. The widest opinion was, what is she doing? We like Snow White. A lot of older women, a lot of normies are just going, what is she talking about?
When you start going after the Disney princesses, man, you want white women to turn on you real quick. That's how you do it right there.
Oh, and I'm just talking about like normal, like white women. I'm not even talking about like the pixie dusters. They've got to be doing the Trump moon witch rituals right now, like towards her for all of her smack talking. But basically, so after that, not only was everybody pissed off, but then they had the most obvious like marketing plant thing of all time. So there's this Variety does this series called Actors on Actors or Directors on Directors, and normally what it is they get 2 like sort of unrelated actors or directors and they put them in 2 chairs and they talk back and forth. They interview each other. About a month after Rachel Zegler came under fire, Variety released their new edition, their then newest edition of that segment, and it was Rachel Zegler talking to Halle Bailey, the live action Little Mermaid. Like, there's no way this was natural. Obviously, they get in there and both of them set each other up for a lot of the media, like quotes, right? Like the headline quotes.
Sound
oh, I
bites.
just wanted, right, the sound bites. Thank you, Cider. Like I just thought more people should see themselves on screen or in things like that. And during the
and then I started throwing rocks.
well, honestly, at this point with her. So during that conversation, there was a point where Rachel Zegler basically came out and backpedaled on everything she said, saying, oh no, I love Snow White. I love that original thing. I love everything Disney has put out in the last 100 years. So this is the kind of person we're dealing with. And we all knew that. That's not new. We all knew this about Rachel Zegler. But more to my point, it's sort of like she has this history. So with that history, why have no steps been taken to sort of, get a handle on her attitudes, right? Like,
well,
so,
here's what she said, so we got it right here. I brought it up.
I know my headphones started going, my media player started going whack. So I was like, what the hell? So I just was looking for that. So yeah, today, Rachel Zegler comes back out and actually it's not even today. It's last night. She clearly has deleted these posts because she shared them to her Instagram story. For those who don't use Instagram, if you use that feature, the posts automatically disappear after 24 hours. But when I went to go write this story at around like 1 p.m., 2 p.m., I don't even know what time zone I'm in here in the western coast of or the western side of America. I'm in Arizona. We don't do time zones. I don't know what time zone I'm in anymore. Like we just
daylight savings, no daylight savings, West
we
Coast.
don't have to deal with that. It makes it
mountain time or whatever any of that means.
Right. That's kind of what I go off.
Dark out.
That's kind of what I go off of, Cider. So, long story short, with that detour, I checked when I went to go write it. It was less than 24 hours after she had posted it. It was already gone. So she clearly,
someone at Disney said, "Take this down, or we will lock you in the trunk."
Take this down
again.
Because guys, like I'm gonna play a slight bit of devil's advocate here, but expressing discontent or disappointment over an outcome of something like this, like a political outcome, people are gonna do it. And there's nothing wrong with saying, "Dang, I wanted my candidate to win. Dang, I didn't want that candidate to win." However, that's not what Zegler does here. Zegler goes from, wow, this sucks, to basically throwing away not even half of your audience anymore, right? This is, what did Trump win by? Like, he won the popular vote, so you're throwing out most Americans.
It's one thing to sit there and have a meltdown because Trump won, because everyone in Hollywood's having that meltdown right now. She went and literally attacked everyone who voted for him, and I don't know if you guys realize this. I think the count is at what, 74 million people who voted for Trump in this past election.
Yeah, I know he won the popular. I don't know the exact number.
Literally one of the biggest Republican landslides in the history of this country. So there are a lot of people who wanted Trump to win, surprisingly enough. So yeah, she's throwing away a good part of the populace who, I mean, this dumb, I'm sorry, I have to say it, this dumb bitch, this dumb puta, look, she started
I'm very happy that you agreed to engage her on her level. That's true diversity and inclusion.
This dumb puta. So what happened here is that she started off by pissing everyone off by attacking the role that she was playing in the first place, which was the character of Snow White. Then, if you recall, I think you kind of skipped over this one. This is another big oof. She decided that she was going to make a political stance, not only against the nation of Israel, but against her Israeli co-star.
I forgot. I just blanked on that one. There's so much. I just blanked on it.
So literally, this half Colombian girl from New Jersey, who clearly has a lot at stake at the Palestine-Israeli conflict here, decided to go after her own co-star, who's from Israel, who supports Israel openly, and she was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, free Palestine," right? So then she cups it up the trifecta here by going after Trump supporters now and basically wishing almost borderline no peace be upon you.
I mean, not borderline. That's aside from moving some words around. That's basically what she called for. So
She almost went full Hamas here. This is what I'm saying. In the grand scheme of what happened
honestly,
Well-
this felt like a 2016-17 like we have to fight Trump post. Like I felt like I went back in time. Like I genuinely was like stunned. I was like, really? We're still doing this? What were you gonna say, Cider?
Well, I mean, she's pretty direct here in what she posts, you know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's not almost like she does for a couple shifts of words. She's very clear about what she wants.
This is straight out of 2016 because it says right here. It says, "I find myself speechless in the midst of this. Another 4 years of hatred, leaning us toward a world I do not want to live in, leaning us toward a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in." I don't think Rachel has a daughter.
She's 23.
I don't remember that.
Google. Part. You keep going. I got Google.
Okay. Catch up, all right? I'll go ahead. You catch up, all right? So, leaning us towards a world that will force her to have a baby she doesn't want. Leaning us towards a world that is fearful. I shouldn't be this shocked, but I am. I am heartbroken for my friends who awoke to fear this morning, and I am here with you to cry, to yell, to hug through the internet. To wax poetically on how the left continues to fail us in forging a new path forward. This law should not have been, and it certainly should not have been, by so many votes. I echo Ethel Kane's statement more than anything. May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace.
You know, it's funny because I have to bring this up because I know she's talking about like just, you know, the whole myth about Trump getting rid of contraception and stuff. One good thing that's coming out of this is more women are actually, you know, getting birth control pills and IUDs. So this is a kind of a good thing that more women are protecting themselves.
We laughed about this like last week on this show. About how now all these liberal women are talking about, oh, we're going to abstain from sex now that Trump's president because we can't get abortions anymore. It's like, oh, so literally, wait, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, but it's like, yeah, so literally the problem of abortion is going to save itself. You guys are so offended on the behalf of progressivism that you're now openly calling for abstinence. Is that where we're at now?
My favorite part about that entire argument of, oh, we're going on sex strikes now or whatever is like, you guys were already doing that with your rhetoric that all men are dangerous, all whatever, and pushed us.
Choose the bear.
But now we're not going to sleep with them.
As the male voter like that, and now you're going, oh, and we're going to do it harder. Like, no, are you listening to yourselves?
Listen to this. It's like male are misogynists, they're pigs, they hate us, they want us all dead. But now we're going to draw the line and not have sex with them. That's where we're going to
now we're going to do it. It's just and like that's what is so performative to me about a lot of this is like all these people going, oh my god, I never thought I'd see the day, or even like there was again, I'm not a Republican or like I'm not on the Democrat side, but Elizabeth, and I'm saying this to criticize her because Elizabeth Warren came out last night and was like, she tweeted something like Donald Trump is breaking the law again, and it's like, you're in charge. What the hell are we supposed to do? Like, Are you kidding me? This is why you guys keep losing, because you don't do anything.
But technically, she broke the law because she said she was Native American and she got all this money.
But like I'm saying aside from that, we're not doing a did you break the law? Did you break the law? What I'm saying is you can't just go look at what the bad guy is doing. You know, by their logic, look at what the bad guy is doing, and then not do anything. Like we elected you, or I didn't, because I don't even know where you're from.
It's like a cop saying, "Look, he's committing murder." It's like, well, you do something. It's like, what are we got to do for?
Yeah, it's like the guy's getting murdered, and he turns to you. The cop turns to you, Jacob, and he's like, "Go get that guy." It's like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Timon says Spencer is for the otaku party.
I am for the otaku party. I want. Make anime girls real. I will solve our incel crisis.
We need more anime representation.
I want when I get elected to office, we will get a full-on USA Genjika. We will get mascots.
We need an anime ambassador.
You will lower
not just a Japanese ambassador. We need an ambassador to anime. Yes.
You will lower the cost of Gundam model kits and reverse the 15% increase cost.
This is my platform.
So here's a couple things just real quick before we continue with the second part of her dumb rant. It's like one, someone was asking us a while ago. It's like, who do you think is worse now, Rachel Zegler or Brie Larson? I will say this: Brie Larson has had the smarts to shut the hell up over the last couple of years. Like, she's laid low and said nothing. And I will even go as far to say this: even at her height of her dumb white girl stupidity, she was never nearly as insufferable as Rachel Zegler is at any iteration of her speak at this point.
I would 100% agree with that. I think Zegler is worse by every metric. Like.
And not only that, at least one thing you can say about Brie Larson is that she was like an Oscar winner before this whole thing like went off the rails. Yeah. Rachel Zegler is verifiably box office poison. She's only been. I love
this fact.
She's only been
since her second movie because Jacob has been on the bounding staff throughout all of Zegler's career.
All of her
for like 4 years.
It's just like she's never. Okay, so as of this moment, like right now. She's only been in 3 actual movies, right? She has 3 more coming up, including Snow White, but she's only actually been in 3 movies. You had West Side Story from like 3 years ago. That bombed. Bombed hard. She was in Shazam 2. That one bombed. They gave it not as bad as West Side Story, but still bombed. You had the Hunger Games. What was it? The Ballad of Songs and Snakes, which I believe was the lowest grossing Hunger Games film ever up to this point.
I think it like eked out a profit, but it was like a Guardian situation.
Yeah, like it was technically profitable, but even compared to like the other Hunger Games movie, it was like the lowest drawing one like ever. She's in this new movie, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. This Y2K movie, which looks awful. Like it looks like trash. And then she's in some Netflix child's movie called Spellbound, which is going to release sometime this year. And then Snow White. So she literally has not been in a single thing that can be objectively qualified as good up to this point in her career.
Okay. Oh man, I need to bring this up because I'm sure all of us here heard at some point down the grapevine that Rachel Zegler was going to be on Broadway in Romeo and Juliet, right? Yes. We all heard that. And I didn't know until today, researching this story, that it's not Romeo and Juliet per se. It is literally the modernizing the story. So they've got like DJs and it's in a club. And I'm just like, what has happened? Like, what is this rent ass Romeo and Juliet?
Let me just pour gasoline on myself and lighting myself on fire after hearing that. It's like, what?
More? It would be a more entertaining show than seeing Romeo and Juliet talk about Skibbity Riz. Like, that's all I'm gonna say.
By the way, now we're arguing about Ube Bowl in the comments. This really is a deep fried reference show the entire way through.
01 deep fried edition.
I feel like he just said he was going to come back and do a new movie. I feel like he just announced something.
I don't know. Maybe we need to.
You might as well, like, in all honesty, at this point, with Captain America about to lose $400 million, God knows how many millions of dollars they're going to lose on that.
I'm so excited for that.
At this point, when you just give Uwe Boll his own like MCU film, like just give him some obscure character that no one really truly cares about too much, and just let him go hog wild.
No, give him 3 seasons of Echo.
Season 2 of Echo.
I know what he would do too. He would abandon all of the Kingpin crime stuff, except maybe for like one scene where like Echo calls somebody to get like guns, but he would go full bore into like Native American like terror horror. Not good. It's not going to be good, mind you, but that's what the direction he would take. So I'm kind of up for like D-movie schlock Echo just taking out a bunch of like zombie Wendigos or whatever. I'd be in for that.
And who brought it up here in the chat just real quick? I'm gonna give him credit. DK had mentioned this as well.
DK!
She does not. Well, let me make sure that is right. Yeah, she does not have any acting projects after Snow White in 2025. So 2025, at least for the time being, is kind of like it for her. Not to say she won't get something after that, but you have to think that there's some people in Hollywood who's taking a real close look at her at this point, because like I said, she's not box office material like at all, like verifiably. Like she's not a name who's like so big that she can get away with saying stupid things because she's such a draw in Hollywood. She's not a good actress by any stretch of the imagination. And now she's become so toxic and so difficult that she's actively losing studios potentially millions of dollars. It's like shit. We've talked about this with Hollywood. They're shifting in another direction right now because the corporations know that they're losing money on these projects that are unprofitable, so they have to move in another direction, unless they're going to just completely like fall apart and consolidate themselves, right? Like Warner Brothers or Paramount at the moment. So they could realistically make a business decision to just go ahead and cut her off, and she can legitimately just be like, you know what, we had fun with you, but you go do something else. Go make YouTube videos because you're not an actress anymore.
I know how to fix everything.
Oh boy.
Make him into common writer.
Make
Disney princesses, all of it. Disney princesses, the Marvel Universe, the Star Wars guys, all of it. Fixes everything instantly.
I would do that, except you know that it would be handled by Western writers, and you know how they would all approach the material.
That's just it, right? So you put Bob Iger in one of those Halo jump planes, and he just kidnaps all of the executives from Toei, right? Just right out from under John Toei's nose. Just kidnaps them in the night. And John Toei wakes up one day and he goes, "Where did everybody go? I'm John Toei. Where is everyone that works at Toei?"
Iger just goes over to like the National Diet and he's like, "Do you guys want the next animated Disney film? I know you guys love it too much. You can't pass this up. Give us the Toei team."
I will buy Japan, the whole island. I will buy.
They don't have money.
Country.
Maybe at one time Disney could have, but not anymore.
They'll just pray to Moloch, and another truckload of gold bars wrapped in diamond encrusted bullshit will show up.
They should have did that before they started Captain America 4.
Maybe they did, Jacob, and he's just a little late on the payments because, you know, Satan and his little fun little payment option.
Captain America 4 is God's judgment on Disney.
There you go, right? That's the field of locusts, right? Yeah, you see that story.
I swear that's going to be the title of my review.
A field of CGI locusts.
Yeah. Princess Leia is a Disney princess now for bad reasons, though. That's the thing. Is that not in the fun way? Not in the fun way. Like we all imagine Princess Leia would show up and she would like lead the princesses on some kind of adventure where they're all shooting up things. Instead, she just talks to them about how they're oppressed by the princes that saved their lives.
And then,
well, if it's Princess Leia, then there's gonna be a lot of shooting up. It's just not gonna be like at things. It's just gonna be,
yeah, the blasters are out of alignment. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, certainly. Let's go with that.
Right, Anakin? The blasters. Do we want to move on from Zegler? I think we've kind of migrated out of her. Yeah, I know why she's scared.
Go ahead.
She doesn't want to be imprisoned in one of Trump's crystals, and that's truthfully what the problem is.
She has to go. You have to go.
She has to go in the crystal, and she doesn't want to. She's afraid.
The only thing I hate about the crystal meme, Cider, is that it doesn't have as good of a like tagline as Trump's first term when it was like, "You have to go back." Like that one rolls off the tongue so easily. This one, I'm just like, "You have to go in."
Well, wait. Get in the flask. Remember, get in the flask. Get in the crystal.
Get in the crystal. Yeah, perfect.
Look,
perfect. It works.
Get in the crystal.
Here's how this is going to work now.
Kind of
someone's going to put a muzzle on Rachel for the next few months because, like I said, they're still desperately trying to hold this craptastic film together at this point. So they need everyone to be on the same page. At least till Snow White comes out, and it's supposed to come out in March. Then the film's going to bomb because who the hell wants to see this now? It's not going to happen. And then about 2 weeks after this film is bombed and Rachel realizes that her career is over, that's when she's going to go full Hamas. She's going to completely turn heel on her co-star and everyone else because now the only thing you have left is being an activist. So you might as well go all in on the free Palestine and we hate Trump. Like she's going to go all in and she'll be
Hanoi Jane.
Yeah, the first thing is very much a Hanoi Jane situation, but it's probably... But the difference is between her and Jane Fonda is Jane Fonda can actually act and she can't.
Yeah, Fonda had a career. People remember her.
Princess Leia loves it when it snows.
Like seriously, go talk to anybody about that second Shazam movie. People saw it. Obviously, it didn't do well, but I know people saw it. Like pretty much anybody I've talked to has seen it. They don't ever bring up Zegler. You go, what do you remember from that movie? What was your favorite part? It's like, I love Zachary Levi as Shazam. Oh, I like seeing more of the family. Oh, I really thought it was funny seeing Helen Mirren in a superhero movie. I was happy to see Lucy Liu. Nobody says anything about Zegler. Like, she's just
you have to go, wait, she was in the movie?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who was she? Oh, that's right.
Now, a member of the channel Meteor Harold Timon here. He has a question. He says, Zegler and Greta, Jacob?
That's a match made in Hades, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they're about the same age, aren't they?
I was about to say, because she might be even dumber than the other one. I mean, that's bad.
Well, yeah, the other thing I just remembered too is unlike Rachel, Jane actually talks the talk and went to Vietnam. Remember, Rachel's not going to go to Gaza.
Well, not
you never know.
March,
her career may request.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in March or April, she might have her ticket ready. But yeah,
this talk movie, about how these are her people.
Just
that's Rachel Zegler.
No, this is the only reason anyone should watch Shazam 2.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was trying to remember the actress's name because I was also going to be like, she was hot like during my recap, and
her name unironically Grace.
Beautiful. There we go, Grace. Call me.
I'm glad it wasn't Chi.
But yeah, good lord.
So you know what Chi means in Spanish, right?
Yeah, no. I was making a joke on top of your joke.
Yeah. The final, I think the final thing to say about this story is, yes, she has about 3 more pages of ranting and raving. None of it is really like that. What we read was pretty much the main thing of it. The rest of it is just her like spiraling. You know, she swings at Elon. She tells her friends to get off Twitter. It's just stuff like that. So, but the main thing is she's basically written off 80% of the country at this point. This movie is going to be a disaster because in addition to all of this stuff, remember this movie's gone through like at least one major, I don't know if you would say reshoot, but like redo, because they were originally going to like use the bandits or whatever. And now we know from the first trailer, oh, they're actually using dwarves and their CGI. So this movie, it could be another Captain America situation. I'm not even joking. Just with the amount of money they're pumping into this, unless I get a budget that comes out that's like, we did it for $100 million because Gal Gadot already had her own evil prince or evil queen costume. It was very convenient. Then it's just going to be
Rachel Zegler lent her the costume. It was great. She just had it, just born with
But yeah, to like Leslie's point, if Brave New World's coming out in March, Disney will have 2 bombs that month. I don't think Brave New World's going to get delayed again, but you're definitely going to have back-to-back bombs, right? You're going to go, oh, here's Captain America. Oof. Well, do you guys want to see Snow White? Oh, nobody wants to see Snow White. Great. What do we do now? And then, yeah, no idea where they go from there.
Well, they start by backing up a tanker ship load of cash to Ryan Reynolds' beachside estate, and they say very kindly, would you please punch Kevin Feige in the face and take his office by force? We'll get it on camera and sell tickets. It'll be amazing.
Is it you who says it, Jacob? Like, I'm convinced at this point that like Kevin Feige was just a con man. Like there's no way he got
he got lucky is what I'm betting. He got stoned one night and had this epiphany to link all these things together, and that was the end of it.
He's essentially Hollywood's version of Eric Bischoff. He had one good idea and ran with it, and now the idea is no longer working. It's going to single-handedly kill his company as a result.
Like this company, have you guys seen? We don't have to break them down because they are actually surprisingly long. But this past weekend, D23 in Brazil happened, and they released a trailer for Brave New World and a like extended look at Thunderbolts, which is like it's like a 7-minute trailer. It's super weird. It's not even a clip. Like it is a trailer that goes for like 5-7 minutes. It's bizarre. But the very first look they gave us at Captain America, this movie is cooked. Like there is nothing.
It is very bad.
Oh, you're telling me that the film that failed 2 separate test screenings before and after reshoots?
Yeah. We know. Like, and I also had this realization because I was talking about it with some friends, and like, if there was any doubt that Feige and the MCU are officially just done and either they need to end it or get Feige out of there or something, this movie has essentially the exact same plot as Winter Soldier, which is a Captain America goes to meet somebody very important up in the United States government. For Evans, it's Fury. For Anthony Mackie, it's President Ross. One of their allies out of nowhere gets brainwashed and attempts to kill that person. Bucky in Winter Soldier, Elijah Bradley, the first black cap in this thing. Cue a international manhunt where that Cap goes on alone outside of his jurisdiction, where his only allies are a Falcon, which was Anthony Mackie in Winter Soldier, and the new Mexican guy in Brave New World, and a female super spy, Black Widow in Winter Soldier, Sabra in Captain America Brave New World. And then the ending of the movie resolves with really nobody getting punished for anything. Right? Like everybody just sort of is like, okay, bye. Like it is Winter Soldier with a new coat of paint and a Red Hulk. Like it's a Red Hulk.
Yeah.
And is anybody excited by that? Like, I don't know, man. All of it looks so bad.
Are you not entertained?
No, haven't been in a long time.
So the this whole thing is it's also intermingled with that. I want to keep pointing everybody's attention to the line that keeps being drawn through the middle of everything you see here. What they're trying to do is inter like at the same time, whatever. Brain's too slow at the moment.
Intersperse.
At the same time, as you're doing Winter Soldier 2, you're also dealing with Civil War 2. Because that's what they keep doing here is a nation pitched against itself. Thanks, Senator, for taking ownership of your actions.
No, that's going to be the president. I can't wait for that scene. Like, I cannot wait. Thank you, Mr. President, for taking responsibility for your there's no way it doesn't come across like a bad PSA. There's just absolutely no way. And I like Mackie, but
then everyone goes, yes, Trump.
Yeah, they go, yeah. Oh my, we're gonna get all the think pieces that are like Brave New World is the perfect answer to Trump's second term or whatever. Because that comes out.
Brave New World shows us what our life looks like under Trump. It's like, really, Trump's gonna turn into Red Hulk and start destroying the White House? Is that what's gonna happen? Like, what are you talking about?
They think that. And why I just freaked out there. That movie comes out a month after he takes office, so damn well that is anything anybody's going to talk about is this is all Trump.
We might go off air for this, okay? But this 10-second sequence I was up at night angry about. Okay, I woke up mad about these 10 seconds. This is no sound. Let's just watch.
That's not
Anthony,
right.
Wait. I'm not okay. He says, "Wait for it."
Oh, the boom.
Then a sonic boom comes and kills those, or at least knocks them off their feet, enough to put a guy into a Humvee and dent the door. Okay, this is supposed to be a blast-resistant vehicle, right? So anyway, back at the plot. Anthony Mackie's Captain America doesn't have the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
How did he not splat?
He's literally just a regular guy.
What? Watch. He just boom. And then it hits
those ankles are. I mean, go right there. Hold on to that. Look at where his ankle is. That's a broken ankle. That's a broken ankle, broken leg. His knee is shattered in 16 places.
That is your knees going into your brain at that point. Like you don't.
Football players have been crippled for less. He landed directly on his ankle.
Oh God!
How do you land directly on your ankle from 4,000 feet in the air and not shatter it into a million pieces? Like your bones are powder at that point.
This should have been Bucky. Let's be real. This all would have been solved. And we talked about it last week. If this was Bucky.
Well, because if it was Bucky Nerdigans, they wouldn't be stupid like this. They wouldn't have the stupid wings to play with, right? Like it's sort of them looking at what can we do? He flies now. He flies now.
This is another one. Anthony Mackie does not have superpowers, so we're going to assume now that the wings are made of vibranium as well as the shield. So that's a hell of a lot of vibranium that he's just walking around with, right? Most valuable metal in the universe.
No, that's cool. He went to Wakanda before this. It's fine.
All black people get free vibranium from Wakanda.
He crazy Ivan's a missile, a sidewinder missile, and just keeps going. What up? What you could do now?
Well, that's the stupid problem with Mackie's shield or their portrayal of him is that the shield, yes, it absorbs some level of like kinetic energy, but it doesn't stop the force behind it. Like because there's that shot at the end where the Hulk like slams down on the shield, and it's on the poster and Sam just like shields it up and he's fine. When in reality, doing that would like crush you.
Well, not only that, it worked when it was Captain America. Like I said, we know Captain America has a super soldier serum, right? So he's not like just a regular guy. Like he has like peak abilities and everything. Mackie, for this case, is just regular man.
Right, and watch regular man. Well, yeah, man with wings.
Mm-hmm.
Hate this.
Apparently, they could just like live lightsaber cut through. There's no flaming edge on that. There's no lightsaber.
He's not moving fast enough for like.
Right. It's just like remember that time Doctor Strange cut a bus in half?
Oh,
remember that time Shang-Chi cut a bus in half? This time Captain America. This time Captain America cuts a station wagon in half. Wow.
Sick.
And it's like that wasn't necessary, Anthony Mackie, Captain America. You could have just done.
They think he's like Black Batman.
Yeah, that's what they want to make him into 100%. They want to make him into like a Black Batman who, they want to make Obama Batman. That's what it is. Yeah, there you go, Leslie.
Yeah.
Behold the power.
Well, they made Obama. They made Obama Superman, so.
They did make Obama Superman. So that
actually, literally,
I like Val Zod, but that's what he is.
From that velocity and that impact, like not only would his ankle would have been shattered into dust, they would have amputated his leg because there literally would not been able, humanly possible, to fix that damage.
And then there's this, okay, and somehow, right, Harrison Ford transforming into this monstrosity, all right. Yeah. And
in the context of the movie is the president of the United States who just turned into a giant rage monster
that lights things on fire when he touches it. Okay. So let's just pause for a minute. How come the National Guard, every ounce of the military is not like springing upon this? Why is it like every ounce of the military being focused? Because they know what the Hulk can do. And this one lights things on fire. So they like, not only is he a giant rage, super strong rage machine, but he's also a pyrokinetic one. So like, we need to like get him away from everything there.
Not only
the White House is really explosive, if you don't know.
Well, not only that, and I understand that at this moment we don't technically have an Avengers team because Kevin Feige is a hack, and I get that. But even then, it's like, okay, the president is a Hulk. He's destroyed the White House. America is technically under siege at this very moment. This will be a moment to call the Avengers. This is the precise moment to call the Avengers.
Do you remember that whole, we needed a team that could do what other people couldn't? Yeah. Do you remember that?
The president is compromised and is destroying DC. This is the time you pick up the phone.
But I also want to remind you, to make this even stupider, if you guys remember from like that first teaser, that trailer, the point of this movie is like Harrison Ford wants Sam back so that he can lead a new Avengers team. And then, so like they acknowledge we don't have an Avengers. They don't do anything to make an Avengers. And according to the leaks, the movie ends without even a hint at like, I'm going to go recruit somebody. Right? Like not even like I heard about a guy who can, get boba companies canceled. I'm gonna go talk to him. Like it's nothing like that. It's just, I'm Captain Falcon. Credits.
I hope Harrison Ford understands that the moment he signed up to be Han Solo, he was going to be the Red Hulk. I hope he understands that.
Like all the way back in like 1970, like two or whatever. Just like.
Yeah.
By the way, that joke they made in Deadpool and Wolverine, where Deadpool was like, to Hugh Jackman, he was like, they're gonna make you do this until you're like 90 or dead. That's what they're actually doing with Harrison Ford. Like, first Star Wars, then Harrison Ford, then Indiana Jones, then Marvel,
then Harrison Ford. He quest for a profit.
Well, that'll be his next role, Cider. They're just gonna give him like a permanent house somewhere in like a Disney park, and he'll go like sit on his like porch and do woodworking, and you can go watch him do it. Like that would make him exceptionally happy.
mildly annoyed Harrison Ford converses with you. New attraction in Disney parks.
Get your lightning lane pass. He's only going to be up until 3.
But
he has Madlock at 4:00. We can't
yeah,
see
exactly.
him.
He's contractually obligated to watch Matlock for the people, right? They have
you know how in like when they have shows like a theme park, you go and there's like a board outside that says like shows at like 2, 4, 6. It's like that, but it's like make sure you get in. Like they just put the TV guide listings. They're like
I'm sorry. No showing at 4:30. Harrison Ford cannot miss in the heat of the night during this time. So
he's never missed an episode. That was in his contract.
Yep. Every time I see this scene where he's screaming, all I can think of is a little boy screaming, "Mommy, where's my tendies?" That's all I can think.
I didn't have like I didn't put it that eloquently like to myself, but you're so on point, Cider. Like
where are my tendies?
And I'm like, what is, I was like, something about this doesn't make me take it seriously at all. And
everything about it.
Right.
He looks like he's made out of like that really tasty watermelon candy. That's like it's like a gummy candy that you just want to bite him and just you taste like strawberries, Harrison Ford.
Mr. President.
We should just cross the universes and like Red Hulk jumps through a multiverse, but he actually runs into like the Star Wars universe. So now it's Red Hulk versus the Stormtroopers. It was like, oh, you thought your job was bad before.
He's like, son, we gotta talk.
God.
In the next 5 years, we will see in some capacity an official like MCU, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Cars crossover. Like they have no money anymore. They have nothing that people are excited about.
The Sense of Right League, Spencer.
The Sense of Right Alliance. That will be their next movie. They just gotta go buy DreamWorks.
Yeah, just a quick trip across the street. They'll be fine.
Just got to get Shrek to throw it on there.
That's yeah.
Like that's my theory right now for Kingdom Hearts 4 is that for those of you who don't know the game, it's this big crossover series between Disney and Square Enix. The last game in the series, or the third one in the series, came out a couple years ago, and it ends with the protagonist like he falls asleep in the magical video game world, and then he awakens in real world Shibuya. So like I am positive now that's how you're going to get Luke Skywalker hanging out with Captain America. Is that,
sure.
I'm in the real world now. And when that happens, I'm going to, I might just like blow up bounding into comics. Like I won't know what to write anymore. I'll be like, this is the dumbest thing possible. Here's the article. You have 30 days.
Our final article would just be, we peaked. And they'll log off.
Final article, we peaked, and it's going to be a picture of you in a crown and be like, and never forget your ruler.
Imagine how the Thunderbolts feel about this whole situation, because nobody knows who the hell the Thunderbolts are, and they're banking on this film to be a lead-in, to be like, oh yeah, we're going to get people excited for the next one that comes out after we watch this one.
So, first, I want to laugh at something. Hey, it's me in HD says, just remember the guy who couldn't beat Ant-Man is fighting Red Hulk. Like, that's, it's the same, it's the problem you and I talk about, right, Jacob, with Ant-Man 3. It's like, we already saw the opponent get wiped by an ant. So how am I supposed to take Kang seriously when I saw him wiped by an ant? So it's like, I saw you get wiped by Ant-Man on his first ever sort of like outside mission. How am I supposed to expect you to?
It's like you just lost to Scotty Too Hottie, and now we're supposed to believe you're going to take the belt from John Cena. It's like, that's not how it works.
That's exactly. That is a perfect one.
So, Nolan Thunder here, he says, when I hear Captain Falcon, I just think of Smash Bros. And it made me wonder. Well, it may be Thunder. Maybe Thunder. Maybe wonder.
Thunder.
There's a lot of thunder going on. Thunder, thunder, thunder. Anyway, it made me wonder, are they brave enough to have Captain, Sam there, Captain Sam? Do you think they're brave enough to have him say, "Show me your moves"?
I thought he was like literally going to punch someone in the course of the film,
or do Falcon Punch.
Yeah, do like so then but he won't say Falcon Punch, but they'll do one. So then everybody shares it on social media with the caption Falcon Punch.
They're snarky enough over at Disney to have like one of the side characters be like, "You call that your Falcon Punch?" And then they just walk off. Yeah.
And here's the thing. I think they're brave enough to do it, but they wouldn't understand how to do it. Right? Like it would be like, yes, you're making the reference, but everybody who knows like anything about Captain Falcon would be like, that felt really like you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Very, very clearly.
Right. And so that's why I was wondering, are they brave enough to try it? Are they brave enough to try it? I don't know.
Or it would be something like Captain America, huh? I mean, even Captain Falcon had to get military training. Show me your moves. And it's like, Captain Falcon didn't need military training. He's a race car driver. Like, like it's just, there's nobody over in these companies anymore who puts effort into any of this stuff. It's
I've got it, Spencer. It'll be like when the green Falcon shows up there, Mexican Falcon shows up.
Oh, God.
And they'll be flying together, and he'll be like, all right, we're running at Mach 1, because they can talk to each other just in the air at that speed.
Of course.
All right, we're running at Mach 1. Show me your moves.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's going to like try to be that like playful, like a Bucky type.
Like Top
to him.
Gun.
He'll be like
Top
yeah,
Gun.
exactly. Yeah, type Top Gun. Yep.
Maverick to Rooster.
It's going to be awful. No. Oh, dude. I didn't even think
They're going to have to outrun missiles in a canyon.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, I didn't even think about this, but you are so now like everything is falling into place. They're
going to play volleyball on the beach at sunset. That was probably what the last recut was.
Because Disney is like, people loved Top Gun Maverick. Let's get in on that. But nobody there understands military jets or anything. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so bad. I can't. Oh, it's gonna be bad.
Oh, I hope they got the music. I hope they got like that majestic music. You know?
Or what was the song that they played during like the
Danger Zone?
Yeah, duh. Oh yeah, duh.
Highway to the Danger Zone.
Yeah. So they will get they'll either do it or they'll do like the minor key version.
Oh, the melancholy remix of it. You know?
that they throw into everything.
Highway to the Danger Zone. You know, the really sad one.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're basically writing. I bet you if we ever found like the initial marketing plan and like script and stuff.
These are Bob Iger's notes on how to make the fucking movie. It's all right there.
In there.
Can we get Tom Cruise in blackface? Question mark.
Come on, Robert Downey Jr. did it, and he's a star. Why not?
Right, exactly. He was Iron Man. He started this whole thing. But Highway to the Danger Zone, to the Boring Zone. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Timon. Highway to the Boring Zone. But you know what's not boring? J.K. Rowling becoming a producer on the Harry Potter TV series, because wow, has that lit people's ass on fire.
Which is absolutely bonkers to me. So, long story short, there isn't too much to this story. On Tuesday, Warner Brothers held their semi-annual Slate press conference, which is it's an event that all these studios host about once a year, where they invite the press and they sort of talk about what's coming up next, show them preview reels, maybe have actors or whatever. It's just a media event to promo what's coming up in the next year, from movies to television. And when Warner Brothers was having theirs on Tuesday, the CEO of HBO and Max, Casey Bloys, was asked a question about, with J.K. Rowling's outspoken views on trans issues, have you been having any difficulty casting, the show? And then he asked, like, and how involved is she? And Casey Bloys basically went, she's very involved. She helped pick the director and the writer. She'll probably have some input on the casting. And then he straight up confirmed, no, we've had no effect from all the outrage out there. So that is like the meat of what actually happened. I think like there are two takeaways two discussion points here. One is the hilarious fact that this sort of confirms that all of the anti-Rowling hysteria is very much a terminally online thing, because for all the things, I know you see this, Nerdigans, for all the people going, we're going to protest, we're going to boycott, don't support any actor that goes up here. It's clearly not, at least according to them. And, there is obviously the chance that they're lying, but probably not in this case. Like, nobody is saying, I don't want to do that job because you've got J.K. Rowling. Like, everybody is sort of more sane than the online Twitter mob. So that is one hilarious takeaway. The other is, and I'm sure you can also speak to this, Nerdigans, is the reaction people, like Cider was teasing a second ago, the reaction people have had to her being confirmed as involved is insane. Like, well, I mean, I don't know why I said it like that. It is the same sort of insane hysteria we see anytime her name is brought up, but it's just sort of like, my takeaway at this point now is like, what are you guys doing? Nobody cares. You didn't do anything for Hogwarts Legacy. What do you want? Like, what's the end game here? There is none. Obviously, we know they wouldn't be satisfied until she was completely and totally eradicated from the face of the planet.
Burned at the stake.
Yeah, burned at the stake. Hey, you can't do that because that's what the Christians did to witches, and Harry Potter is about. I don't know. I'm just trying to make up a stupid argument.
Right.
But yeah, so like I know I'm racist against witches. I really got to get over that. That's why I didn't watch Agatha. Okay, I'm okay. I have no problem with witches. I just wouldn't want my daughter dating one of them. If you know, no.
Well, so Leslie brings this up though, Spencer, and she says, "I'm glad J.K. Rowling will be a producer. It will help keep HP close to the books." And I have to tell you, no, it probably won't. She has a penchant for saying that somehow Hermione is from Harlem, and I'm not quite sure how.
Hermione.
Yeah, Harlem Hermione. And so I'm not really sure how that works, as she was described as having ginger hair and pale skin, and I'm not.
The first... No, it was brown hair, not ginger. It was.
Sorry.
It was brown.
The first drawing JK did of her is also like a very clear, like, British white.
That's a white girl.
Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts in that original drawing.
That again. So
Hermione was definitely a snow bunny.
Oh no,
I don't know.
Romeo and Juliet.
That's so funny. But yeah, technically she kind of was, because she did have the buck teeth.
Oh my god.
But something I do want to mention though is that compared to Disney, where Rick Riordan has to deal with the diversity quota, and I'm not happy with the fuckery that's happening over there. I'm really hoping.
First, Nerdigans. Now that you've brought it up, we need to explain to everybody what's going on.
Okay, so what's happening?
And this can be very quick because it is just the casting announcement. So
let me break that down a little bit real quick. So for those of you that don't know, Rick Riordan, who's been like supposedly like working hands-on with the Percy Jackson series from the very start.
The creator, he's the creator and the author of Percy,
of the full franchise. He's been working hands-on with the series, and the Percy Jackson series is a very, very diverse series. I mean, there's gender fluid characters in the Magnus Chase, which is the Norse series. There's Black characters in the Egyptian version of the series, and so on and so forth. And what's been happening is that he has been race swapping characters that are traditionally like they're white characters, and it is just pissed off the fan base. And this time it's really gone too far. I mean, they already did it to Annabeth, and that pissed off the fan base, and now they did it to Athena, who is her mother, the Greek goddess of wisdom. And it's like a huge what the fuck. You have the simps and the defenders saying that, this is correct, blah blah blah. It's like, no, the Discussing Film actually put Rick Riordan's illustration of Athena side by side. It's like, no, this is not correct. It is not. She is clearly not white. The actress they picked is not white.
Well, I mean, Leslie Tarkin, Queen Victoria was also a ginger, and she's not right now. In the movie, in the show that they're doing with Queen, is it Queen Victoria? Queen Elizabeth I? Yeah, it's the one where all the royals are African descended.
Oh, that's not the Crown.
It's the other one where they race swapped everybody in.
Is that it?
No, it's one that's it's new. It just came out like 2 years ago, a year ago or so, and it was a huge controversy because all the royals in Britain were like recast as African descended. So
I can't remember the name. I can
see it.
Yeah,
I'm like blanking on it.
And so I can't guarantee that because the UK is not pro UK at the moment. It's it's pro anybody that comes from elsewhere.
But the theory
it's
is
pro Muhammad right now.
It should be pro-American because A, the British are awful, and B, we're the best. Go ahead.
And I do have to say that we probably will see Gaza messaging in there. We will probably see a Muslim Harry Potter character, a hijab wearing Harry Potter character, because again, they don't have that.
Well, we all knew that this witchcraft is going to lead to jihad at some point. This is the only.
That's what these guys keep raging about. Is that like Harry Potter's so white? Well, Harry Potter's so white.
I can't wait for like the Harry Potter, like the guys on the brooms just fly into buildings and start blowing.
Allahu Potter.
Al Kidditch.
The terrorist turkey gobble.
But yeah, that's where you're definitely going to see that, because this has been the main complaint about the Harry Potter series from fans itself, is that it's too white and too Eurocentric.
Those aren't fans.
Well, again, that's what this is what they're reacting to. That's all.
I know these people aren't fans, but let's be honest here. This whole thing's been hilarious to me. How people are trying to pretend like that this J.K. Rowling's versus like the trans community thing is like an actual beef. Like it's completely one-sided, and it's always been one-sided. I always go back to that line from Avengers where Loki says that an ant has no crawl with a boot. Like, that's really what this whole thing has just been. It's just like you have a bunch of people online with trans flags in their profile screeching every time J.K. Rowling says anything. And really, her only disagreement is that she doesn't want men and women's spaces, and that's really been it. She hasn't even actually been like anti-trans people. She just doesn't want it. It's like
she actually has trans people that agree with her in her comments too.
Yeah.
And the trans people are like, dude, we do not like these activists. They are complete assholes. We disavow from them. There's lesbians in her comment section that are like, we don't like these people. They're infringing on our spaces and they're trying to erase us. We don't want them around either.
Who's the NBA player who said that this isn't a rivalry? They always kick our ass. Like it was something like around to those lines.
Yeah. I remember. I know who you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Timon says it's a sin for Muslims to practice magic and stuff. I said, well, the way Hollywood works, right? The way Hollywood works, they get up to some pretty shady, weird stuff. And so we do have a member update, right? Pinochet's Helicopter Tours renewing membership. Welcome back. Happy to have you here. Thank you very much.
We missed you last week.
But
what I was trying to get at is compared to Disney, which does have clear racial quotas, obviously, I don't know if Warner Brothers does have that. And the other thing is because of J.K. Rowling, I don't think, even if they do have a racial quota situation, I don't think they're going to enforce it on J.K. Rowling. I think they might give her an exception because of how significant Harry Potter is to Warner Brothers. It's kind of like a Lord of the Rings situation, where if Peter King's running it, they're going to let Peter Jackson. Why am I scraping up Peter Jackson? They're going to let Peter Jackson too.
Yeah, can you imagine like a Harry Potter CNN? Like, you know how this will work? That would be
the most trusted name in magic.
Oh my God. But no, they're going to let Peter Jackson do whatever the fuck he wants because Peter Jackson's going to bring in box office money and all that. That's what I think Warner Brothers.
You're right, yeah.
But Warner Brothers ain't stupid like Disney is. Disney doesn't know what they had with Percy Jackson. Warner Brothers does know what they have with J.K. Rowling. And also with Lord of the Rings.
I've got two things to tell you on that point, Nerdigans. And one, preface, you're not entirely wrong on your read of them giving Rowling sort of free control, right? Like, I think you're right. I think they do recognize how big of a brand it is for them, how important it is. They can read the room. So at least Zaslav is, at least plugged into like one chat room. He has like a Twitter feed that follows two people, and occasionally one of them retweets one of our videos into his feed. The problem with that, though, Nerdigans, is kind of what Cider was saying, right? Is that while J.K. Rowling probably will have final say and whatever on casting and all that, we've seen historically how open she is to sort of swapping things up in the name of representation, whether you're making Dumbledore gay after the fact, whether you're making Hermione black after the fact.
Right.
So like,
she's like that intersectional feminist where like there's a four-way intersection, but nobody goes the fourth way. And so she does all the other ways,
Right.
but she doesn't do the fourth way. And she's that kind of intersectional feminist, like 90% of intersectionality, but it's that last 10%.
She's like female Bill Burr. It's like she'll go out there and like do some jokes about white women to make it seem like
comparison. Yeah,
it's like no, I'm one of you guys. No, just don't pay attention to my black wife who you know controls my life.
Well, speaking of controlling life, Pinochet's helicopter tours asks us this question. It says, a member for 40 months, by the way. And he says, panel, should Hollywood and video game studios pay a climate tax for reshoots, delays, and canceling games? This waste at a premium affects our planet.
Well, no, here's what's going to happen. They're going to defer it into the California gas tax like they've been doing for the last 30 years. And the next thing you know, your gas is going up $70 a gallon on already like $3 above the national average to begin with. So, yeah.
But that gas tax never goes to the roads or anything like that. It just goes into the general fund.
It hasn't gone to the road since they created the gas tax.
Yes, exactly. yeah. We all know it's a scam.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember when we were supposed to build a high-speed rail from like San Francisco to San Diego?
Yeah,
and they built it, and it was just like a half mile of road, and they were like, "Oh well, my bad." And it's
dude,
like,
when I was back in San Diego, like 2018, they were still talking about making that project. They were showing the same damn video that they showed in 2002 when they were telling people about the project. It's like, I remember that video from 15 years ago. You still haven't built it yet.
It's
So,
the J.J. Abrams method.
Pinochet's helicopter tours, member of the channel for $2 American, says it is unfair corps are allowed to waste resources. Now, I can't confirm this 100%. I did not see Elon post about it. I didn't see Vivek post about it. But there were people discussing on Twitter earlier today that part of Doge is to cease these corporations from being able to write off their losses the way that Batgirl was.
That's not going to happen. Like, I'm sorry. The Doge thing is the dumbest thing that I think could have ever happened. It's not going to benefit anybody. It's not going to. They said we want government efficiency, and they hired 2 people to run it. Already failing off the bat. Like, this is the dumbest thing.
I will say this though, I do think it's absolutely hilarious that there's people out there right now that still think that Doge is going to make them rich. Meanwhile, in the same time that they're waiting for Doge to hit $1, Bitcoin has gone from $25,000 to $91,000 now. It's like that was the one you needed to invest in if you wanted to make money, not the
Doge
Doge.
is cheap. That's why, even though they don't understand like relative like amounts.
Sure. But that's what's going around. So that's what I have to say about that. That's what I think would be a more appropriate response, is to stop the cash in at the taxpayer's expense that, oh, we're just going to write off a $400 million movie. Our bad. Please don't tax us on what we did there. I think that's wholly and entirely wrong. Concord should not be an escape trapdoor for Sony. Okay, that should not at all. They should have to face the brunt of that because they wholeheartedly created it with all of their effort. And the best their excuse is, we should have tested it more. Excuse you? You reached out to Amazon and made a fucking episode of a stupid video game series nobody is going to remember in 5 years. But whatever, dude. That again, like it's the peak of what we're dealing with. So yeah, I don't think that they should have to pay a climate tax. I think they should be deprived of their write-offs. If it's not an equipment failure, a death, or like an extreme property loss, like a whole like set is burned or a whole theme park attraction turns into ash, that's fine. But if you make a Batgirl, if you make a Concorde, that's your problem, not mine.
Yeah. No, I think that's actually way better, because I was going to say, like, yeah, I definitely think they should, some punishment should exist, because at this point, what I get really sick of is the putting everything on us. Like, you need to be better about your car. Give us your car. Like, don't do it. But it's like, you guys just went and you went to go do reshoots halfway across the country, and all of your stars took different planes from your crew, who took different planes from your directors. Like, why are we getting in trouble here? And so I was going to be like, yes, something should happen, but I really like that idea. I think I'm right there with Cider. Take
and that's
away
what I heard floated around.
Benefits.
That's what I've heard floated around of what is in the package of Doge, is that part of the reforms is making sure that corporations can't get away with like deliberately crashing a product or creating a product that can't sell and then expecting the taxpayers to eat that. So
Except
that's one of
Elon's gonna
those
want
things.
that overturned the second he makes another flamethrower and nobody buys it.
Well, that's just it, right? It comes down to remember Milton Friedman said this when he was debating socialism. He said, "Show me the benevolent angels that are going to run our society and do everything correctly and remain selfless in that process." And
not existent.
Exactly. So Doge may not be 100% effective, but what we can say this today, every corporation that operates inside of the U.S. is sweating bullets about what's going to come out tomorrow.
I don't think they are.
So, well,
I think remember Elon's in that same business cabal. Like he's in there. He's got all those contracts.
I don't know. Like Trump, he's new money.
Remember, we were
though.
talking about
A lot
this
of these guys are
yesterday.
old money.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Elon knows that torpedoing other people's contracts is going to hurt him, so he's not going to move against anybody that really needs to be moved against.
Like I said, I think we were talking about this last night. I think what a lot of these guys are waiting for, because let's be honest, a lot of these businesses are like holding on by like tissue and dreams at this point. So they're like trying to hope that, you know, when Trump comes in, he'll loosen some of the regulatory, you know, pushback on consolidation, and like, so I think a lot of these companies are just going to end up merging with one another over the course of the last several years, and it'll be enough.
Yeah,
it'll be enough to not be qualified as like a monopoly or a duopoly, even though it technically is. We were mentioning this like last night, and it shows you kind of where we're going here in the world of entertainment. Warner Brothers is broke. They're massively in debt. Paramount is broke. They're massively in debt. These two want to come together and combine their debt and assets to BS their stockholders into thinking that everything's fine when it's not fine. So those two will merge together. And then you have the big giant, which is Comcast, that's going to come in, and they're going to come swoop the whole thing up, which means that they'll be getting Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Paramount at a discount. What you're seeing is that four major companies will turn into one within 5 years. And that's what a lot of the industry is going to look like, because these companies that have pushed all this DEI and all this, you know, attacking the customers and burning things out and bailouts and all this other stuff, they can't financially secure themselves at this point in time. And because they have stockholders, because they have to legally keep BSing people that everything's fine when everything's not fine, it's gotten to a point where if they don't sell, they're going to collapse. So selling is literally their get out of jail free card of, you know, I said, essentially not admitting your faults at this point, saying, no, their business was great, and that's why we sold everything for pennies on the dollar.
Cider, Jacob, one of you, or even Nerdigans, I asked those two because they're more in the.
So I don't know.
Oh, okay, well, I asked you two primarily because you're more Hollywood oriented than her. There's this thing that they like companies do a lot, and I think Warner did it when they did their buyout of Discovery, where they're allowed to like package their debt into a different entity and then sort of like say, oh, look, that's that company over there. We're Warner Brothers. We don't have any debt. But it's like, what is it? I can't wrap my head around like, what does that do then? Like, aren't you still responsible for that? Don't you still have to take care of that?
Well, it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, let's say for example, let's use Disney as an example. Let's say that Pixar is an absolute dumpster fire of an organization, and literally everything's burning and everyone's running around with their hair on fire. They can still turn around and be like, yeah, well, overall, we still had such and such for the quarter. We'll just completely ignore the fact that this property over here is doing absolutely terribly because we have all these other entities that are propping up the failures of this one. And that's essentially what the major corporation wings are doing at this point.
Well, also, too, in legalese, you can put all of the losers in a barrel and put that into control of another property, and then all the winners stay in a separate barrel, and all the losers are in that other barrel legally separate from the winners. And that's technically what you're referring to, is they said,
it's a bunch of corporate hocus pocus.
Right, exactly. Here's all the good stuff that we want to take ownership of, and here's all the bad stuff that we don't want to take ownership of, and our lawyers say that that's how it works. And that's what... You know,
like in my head, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because I'm like, did we all not watch cartoons as a kid? That was like, if you break something, don't try and hide it. Just like go tell your parents because they're gonna find out eventually. Like that's what this feels like.
Speaking of that, here's Pinochet's helicopter tours. Remember the channel for $5 American dollars, saying there's no downside to putting a spotlight on the hypocritical waste and hoisting corporations on their own petards. The public turns into Eye of Sauron. And technically, in a less menacing sense, but
Twitter.
but But this is what we have now. What we have now is we do have like a living, breathing watchdog that's global. It's X, and you can just post like, "Hey guys, my country, like the UK, forces corporations to declare that they totally sucked balls on this new quarter, and they can't lie like they can in the US." And here we find out that this is horrible, and they're actually cooking the books on your side. And then people on our side get to go, "Wow, thanks, UK friends. Hey, jackass, what's this?" You know, and that, you know, it gets the ball rolling. And that's the thing, is that like even investors are snowed by this. You got to remember, they're not on the same investor calls. When they do investor calls with the UK, they deliberately put that in the middle of the night for anybody here on East Coast. You know, and that's what they do when they have calls with the Asian offices. They make sure that it's timed so that anybody in the West is unavailable. They put it near holidays to make sure that people can't make that time. And that's what they do in order to make sure that everybody's compartmentalized. Over here, we're telling the US everything is great. Over here in the UK, we're saying we need more money because the whole thing's on fire. And over here in India, we're trying to make sure that they won't even buy it. So,
like, in all honesty, like, if you look at the Hollywood system right now, and I kind of came to this revelation like last night when we were talking about this. It's like, you don't have actual movie studios anymore, and you haven't had them for quite some time. Like, this is where you're at. I mean, if you look at the so-called Big Five at the moment, who are really the Big Five? Disney, a multi-billion-dollar corporation that the movie industry is just a small portion of their overall portfolio.
Yeah.
Comcast, NBC Universal, the exact same thing. Sony, the exact same thing, right? You have Warner Brothers. Even though it started off as a studio, it's been off-branched into a whole bunch of other things anymore. It's not really a studio anymore, right? Especially with all the AT&T and the Warner stuff that they've all consumed, so they're not really a studio. And then Paramount, who used to be Viacom, is more of a media conglomerate than it is an actual studio. Yeah. So the whole idea of like the old school Hollywood film system, that's been dead for a while. The only studio centric ones that you can remember now, like I think probably the closest thing to it today is probably Lionsgate. I think that might be the closest thing to what the Hollywood system used to represent at this point, because all the other smaller studios are basically like smaller arms of the big corporations. Like I think Open Road or one of those two is like owned by one of the bigger studios now. Like so it's just what entertainment is at this point. And and then when these studios start eating each other and cannibalizing each other in order to give the illusion that there's not a monopoly, they're going to start propping up the other streamers like a Netflix or an Amazon or an Apple and be like, oh, see, these entities are making movies and television shows, so it's not a monopoly. But technically, those aren't actually studios either. Like Amazon is a conglomerate who makes movies. Apple is a conglomerate who makes movies. It's the same thing.
And that's where we're at, right? You only have like Angel Studios and a few other that are like this mid-range.
Angel's the one from
Sound of Freedom.
That's
Sound of Freedom and Chosen and stuff like that.
Another one.
Yeah, and they're working on a Jesus series now. So it's one of those things where like they're like a private funded situation. There's another one in Vegas as well. And those are kind of like a mid-range studio that can kind of sort of reach a national distribution level. But most of the time, guys underneath that can't. You can get like your region on board. If you're really, really lucky, you can get your region on board. But most of the time, it's just your state that'll come on board. And usually that's enough to get it going, to make it viral, to put it on a streaming platform. But sometimes it's not. And so that's what we're looking at, is that like they use that access, right? They use that ability to mass distribute to like cut out, gatekeep, in order to make sure that anybody like Angel Studios can't get too far. People were losing their minds that the Sound of Freedom movie was allowed to air. That it was going to inspire, like the Joker movie's conspiracy started again. People are going to see the movie and just start killing people. They'd just be put into a foaming mouth frenzy, you know?
More violence happened at the live action Little Mermaid than ever happened.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I love that's my favorite like Jacob trivia that he always brings up.
I feel like that should be on a t-shirt, right? Like just a reminder. More violence.
Right? More violence at Little Mermaid than Joker.
Yeah, and you just have like the screen in the back. On the back is like Ariel strangling flounder. It's a graphic on the back, just strangling flounder. You know,
either that or I would do like the bands do, where they take like just like a live photo and slap it on there, and I would just grab a screenshot of like 7 of those different fights and just slap them on the back.
Hey and me, this guy.
Hi,
Hey, it's me in HD says, isn't there already a Jesus series? And as Timon says, yes, there's The Chosen, and this is apparently going to be like a cinematic compressed version of it. And please forgive the terminology, but I don't know how to describe this any other way. This is meant to begin the Jesus verse. That they're going to launch out of these first 3 movies. Yes, it's going to be very much like the Iron Man style. To have a 3-movie kind of spread of like introducing everything in the Jesus verse, and they will continue to fill in the apostles, fill in the like the Genesis period when God was a little touchy, and you know,
post-credit stinger of like Peter or whatever.
Yeah, Jesus origins. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah,
Jesus origins.
So I literally put in our Bible Lynch chat. Apparently, Netflix is doing a series on Mary, and I know a few people who are involved with it. So I said, like, literally yesterday or the day before, it's like, oh, great. So it's going to be a Catholic Light series. And then apparently, like, no, it's going to be even more Catholic than you can possibly imagine. And that's what the whole thing out. So, like I said, in case you guys don't know, in Roman Catholicism, Mary is basically Jesus. Like, she's far more important than Jesus actually is, even though he's the one that's actually the savior who died for the world's sins. And this one's making a 2-hour epic about Mary. I think my good buddy Daniel over on Twitter made it very, very clear. It's like, how can you do a 2-hour series about a woman that the Bible says so little about? It's like, oh, the answer is you make it up.
You make it up. That's what my takeaway from it's going through Netflix, right?
Netflix, yeah. Which should have been the first red flag, if we're being completely honest with ourselves.
But like, I saw that trailer, I think, floating around on my timeline today, and my big takeaway was like, oh, clearly, like, I was like, oh, obviously it's gonna be more Catholic based, because it is like, how do you write a story about Mary, who basically after giving birth to Jesus was just normal living, like she went and she had some kids and hung out. But then I was like, oh, they're gonna go Super Saiyan Catholic, because she's like a superhero or like an action star in that. Like she's like Furiosa. That's what it is. Like in the Anya Taylor-Joy one. And I was just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, it's literally, there's going to be a whole lot of heretical nonsense put into that series. But I'm pretty sure we'll cover it at some point, either the Bible Lens or maybe on my upcoming 511 show, which we're still working at. Yeah.
To be clear,
that number I just gave was probably something awful. Like, we're going to get canceled now. I said 355. Everybody's like, oh, he said the number.
No, that's the name of a really crappy movie. A bunch of female spies.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's where it's coming from.
I was like, wait a minute. No, it's 335 from Power Rangers in Space. So what are you talking about? 355.
We got like 4 verses like converging together.
Yeah, right. Anyway, back at the plot, we have Pinochet's helicopter tours. Member of the channel asking, speaking of Angel Studios, have you seen the trailer for Bonhoeffer? My sincere question is, does it look like they made some money lately for higher quality productions? So I want to let you know that a lot of what Angel Studios is doing right now is this Torch program. A lot like the Blaze, they like these kind of cringy titles for their like activities that they want to do to help people. I appreciate what they're doing, but it's all based out of the Statue of Liberty, and they're trying to take inspiration from Liberty's Light. And so you have a torch, and your torch is basically your like your pitch deck to them, that you're meant to have like some test footage or some type of visual with something accompanying it to kind of show that you can make this. You're not just some weirdo like me up in Maine that has some AI skill. You know what I mean? So that's what they want to do. And so they will then adopt your program, your creation into their studios and fully produce it for you. All right. This Torch program is not like a lottery thing. You put it in and they decide on a basis by basis. It may not be everybody gets in, but most people do. And so what they're doing right now is that they're putting that through. So what you're seeing is like somebody who has perhaps a higher film quality than what Angel Studios started out with is now collaborating with them through the Torch program and producing what looks like a higher Angel Studios production, when in reality it started with this independent producer. And so that's what you're looking at. And again, it's not bad. That's brilliant.
No,
and
no,
a lot of their stories they want are like, they emphasize they either want stories that are based on true stories, or they want stories that are like Marvel, outside your window. They don't want high flying adventures about superheroes. They don't want high flying Indiana Jones stuff. They want like Hallmark with balls, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's like Hallmark with balls, you know, stuff that like your grandpa would get excited about is basically what I could tell you. Is that's what the gist of it is, you know. Your grandpa's gonna be like, damn it, have you seen this movie? You know?
It would be much cheaper to just start up like a Clint Eastwood specific streaming service. Like, come on, guys.
Literally just Clint Eastwood. And he's like Harrison Ford, but he's like live, and he's just like, he's adjusting the glasses. Like, I want to let you know we're gonna show this movie now. These nice kids in Tennessee, they did this movie here. There's a dinosaur in it. And so it's 12 hours a day. It's just Clint Eastwood trying to explain indie movies.
As long as we can have also like a picture-in-picture option to watch him
so
while
he's reacting
the movie.
to it. Like,
yeah.
I see what they did there. That's something. Wouldn't expect a woman to do that to a dinosaur. That's for sure. You know, it's like
there's a bunch of Asians in this movie. I made a movie with a bunch of Asians once.
Right. It was based on a true story, if you know what I'm saying.
coming soon from Angel Studios, Gran Torino 2.
So
better than making a fistful of dollars.
Yeah, right. Another fistful of dollars.
Oh, don't worry. That'll get an all-female reboot very, very soon.
Yeah, with Natalie Portman as the lead cowboy.
Margot Robbie, duh.
Oh.
Rachel Zegler.
Oh, by Barbie Cowboys. Here we go. But Pinochet's helicopter tours, remember the channel says, what I mean is you can tell when you're watching a Hallmark movie, Bonhoeffer looks like something Hollywood did the trailer. And that's very true. That's what I mean is that like you're dealing with people of like varying submission qualities. And so that's what I think we're looking at here is that Angel Studios is only working on a few things internally, and they're taking in a lot of stuff from outside. So again, building their talent pool for their studio, right? Because that's how you do it, right? You give people what they want, and then you tell them what you want out of them in return. It's not nefarious. It's just how the system works.
So are they doing more of a like distribution type help like with that? Because like it sounds
no, it's literally if you can produce 3 minutes of like theater quality, television quality,
gotcha.
Film production. Right. They'll consider bringing you on and completing whatever you had submitted.
Now I get it.
So,
okay. That's cool.
Yeah, they
actually really like that.
Yeah, the Torch program is very, very well done. And again, because it is such like real world grounded kind of stuff, you don't have the crazy special effects of spending $280 million making She-Hulk's ass work. You don't have to worry about that. You've just got regular old
million, thank you very much.
Well, you've just got regular old VFX to do light control and to change the scenery for whatever reason you need to in your flashback moments, So you don't have an extreme VFX budget to weigh down production. And also that means when it comes to put the movie out, you're not spending a year and a half handling the CGI effects, chaining your VFX people to their desks to get it done. It can be relatively moved out quick.
It's much cheaper to actually film 2 women sitting at a table talking than to CG them in like they did in Black
Widow.
What do you know? Just letting you know. Just letting you know, Hollywood.
Yeah, it's crazy. But speaking of crazy, we're almost to the craziest thing of the night. Here's we go. As Microsoft confirms that they're going to copy the Steam Deck in a couple of years. You just wait.
What? Why? This is literally like they need to go back to like basics. They need to go redo their fundamentals. Their business is dying and nobody wants a handheld. Like, you guys don't have anything for like, what is this? What am I looking at? What a bad business decision. They
see the Switch and they're like, we can do that. And then they saw the Steam Deck and they're like, oh, that's how we'll do it. And they're just like, screw Gabe.
They already have all their games on the Steam Deck. Like, this is so insane because you're basically buying a lesser quality Steam Deck that can play less games, probably for more money. Like,
right. And it'll irradiate your balls and kill your sperm.
Well, all the years of having a laptop on my crotch, like back in the 90s, probably not only did that, but probably mutated everything down there. So,
oh wow,
I'm not too worried about that.
You might have Kamen Rider babies. How about that?
I'm like, what is it? The big dude from the Black Sun remake they did. The
oh no,
you know what I'm talking about. The big gray like white guy.
Yeah, the king, the Shadow King.
Shadow King, that's what he was. Yeah.
Shadow King's better, and they're milking you. Oh.
You know what? I've been saying this for a minute that Xbox has entered its Sega era, and man, it really
you're right.
Especially since they're saying that that Halo might come to PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's like, the moment that gets announced, that will be the death of Xbox.
It's 20 years late. You're right.
Yeah, seriously. I also feel like Nerdigans, I think we already got the like we already hit the peak, and we're writing the down right now. And that peak was when, like, earlier this year, Phil Spencer came out and was like, oh yeah, throughout the entire time we've had Xbox, we've always been in third place. And like, you say that and I go, oh, you guys are done. Like, you have nothing. Your Halo games couldn't like boost you to like at least second for the Xbox 360. The 360, everybody had a 360. Like,
Everyone and their mother had everyone and their mother had a 360 and a Wii.
Yeah, exactly. They got the Wii because they saw like somebody on Good Morning America playing with it, and they were like, "Oh, look, that'll be fun." And then they got the Xbox because their kid well, for their kid, and their kid said, it can play DVDs. So then they went, "Oh, well, then we'll put it in the living room or whatever," right?
Yeah. And then eventually they got a PS3 because Blu-ray.
That's what I did for my parents. I was like, it's a Blu-ray player, it's cheaper, and they were like, well.
We bought a Wii for the the fun of having a public humiliation regiment at home in your living room, and we got the Wii board, so we would do the Wii workouts.
Wow, hell yeah!
And so we would just laugh at each other as we were doing these insane things as the little reader thing desperately tried to track our movements but failed so miserably. And,
I have a Wii Fit 4 too.
My favorite thing was doing the weigh-ins, and you just turn into a ball, and it would be like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's
right. It's not that bad. Yeah. Shut up, Nintendo. It's not that bad.
Like, I paid you for this. I paid you for this. Leave me alone.
Right? And so you play in all the Wii Sports, you get really good at like the nunchuck thing. You learn how not to put holes in your television and walls with the nunchucks. It's great. And then they come out with the Wii U, and you're like, no, I'm done. Because like Wii U literally said it was really nice. You could stand up and do things and move around with your family. Fuck that. Sit down. Shut up. Here's scribble knots. Don't bother your parents anymore.
I was just going to say, the parents got tired of the fact that they knew you were like moving around, potentially destroying stuff. So now you sit your ass right down next
Exactly. To and then they came up with scribble knots, and they were like, you don't have legs anymore. You have scribble knots now.
Now you have scribble knots to deal with it. And then DC scribble knots. They don't make those anymore.
I miss scribble knots.
Yeah, that was a really fun game, and I'm glad they killed it before it got like nuts.
That's actually true too. Yeah,
before it had like a Pokemon crossover or something. Just something
that would have been fun. Actually, I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think it would have, because it really would have felt like Kirby's Epic Yarn, but stupider.
Remember, Nerdigans, there's like 1,000 Pokemon. So
right, and they had enough time trying to keep people fighting Superman and Cthulhu in the DC crossover one, and that nearly crashed your game. So
I mean, you did have Shoggoth and Scribblenauts, which was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Insane. Speaking of insane things, Denzel Washington kissed a man,
and he liked it.
Real quick, I just wanted to say, just on the add-on to that, it's like I know Sega is completely out of the game now because they're a bunch of bastards. But I was thinking to myself, imagine like kind of ahead of the curve they were a little bit on the Game Gear, only for them to get like blown the F out by the Game Boy Color. But like I said,
the problem was the Game Boy Color took me 2 AA batteries every 2 weeks. A Game Gear took me 4 AA batteries every 40 minutes.
Yeah. Yes. You needed your own power plant to run that thing.
children were stealing batteries from Rite Aid because they were so.
My family was a little eod with how the ages worked, and so my sisters were like in their 30s when I was born. So at a young age, I would go over and they would still be playing with these things, and they had a Game Gear from when they were kids, and they would hold up the Game Gear and I would pick it up and like my little kid arms would be like ah. How do you hold this? I can't. How do you play games?
like Atlas holding up the world. Like,
yeah, exactly. It was. I couldn't hold it. And because they were girls, they'd make fun of me, like, "Oh, you little wimpy boy, you can't hold the Game Gear.
You can't play the video games.
Can't hold the Game Gear. I thought you were stronger than that. I couldn't even get my little kid hands wrapped around it. I'd have to reach over here and then reach back and then reach over."
And now every Christmas Eve, Cider drives by his sister's house and whips Game Gear into there.
Yeah, right. Not weak anymore, huh? Bataranging that shit through your front window, sis.
One-handed.
First try. But yeah, Denzel Washington kissed a man, and as Nerdigan said, he liked it.
Yeah, Jacob, you want to take this one? You guys were talking about it.
So.
You're the guy that feels like somebody who had something to say about this.
Yeah, exactly right. So when I heard this,
it's going to be better than mine because mine is just going to be the what is it?
So when I heard this, I first had to check to make sure that this wasn't like one of the discussing films, like Central sites, to make sure that this is like a real story. And no, unfortunately, it is a real story. Denzel Washington just randomly decided to reveal that there was a gay kiss scene in the new Gladiator movie that they filmed and it just hit the cutting room floor, right? And I guess they weren't ready for that. When I heard this, my immediate reaction was this was a rib on Denzel Washington, or as we like to call it, a humiliation ritual. It's like, let's get this knowingly Christian man to kiss another man on the lips for a film and then intentionally cut that scene out of the movie so it never sees the live day. That's why
if you want to go further, like he didn't have to talk about it. He didn't have to go out and like nobody was asking about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Only the editor would know.
Like you're trying to hard sell people on the fact that we even needed a Gladiator 2 to begin with. So it's like, I don't know that this is helping putting butts in the seats at the moment.
Come on, baby. I just want out.
I love that clip too. It's like, nope, you're staying in.
Not this time.
The gun's gonna jam every time. It's like, son of a bitch.
So I just want to point out, like, they got everybody, guys. That's it. They got Denzel. That's everybody. There is nobody left in Hollywood that hasn't done this crazy stuff that's still working. It's that simple.
Yep. If you want to, remain in the industry, you better tap dance and shuckle and jive and whatever else they want you to do behind closed doors. You better go to that baby oil party or whatever.
Damn it, I was gonna say that.
Man on Fire is going to be
those parties. Go to those parties.
When they do the old man Logan version of Man on Fire, that's going to be really awkward.
Which is weird too, because it was literally right before he admitted this. It was like a day or two earlier. He was saying, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to be in Black Panther 3, everyone." So it's like, Marvel's writing a role for me, and then this comes out, and it's like, oh, so that's how you.
How many men do you kiss in Wakanda?
Exactly right.
You kiss your way to the throne. Is that what you do?
Wakanda, that seems like a very diverse place. They're pretty sure they're open to the diversity, equity, and inclusion, right?
Yeah, that seems like a real open society, considering they let the cow farmers 10 feet from the barrier of their kingdom starve.
That's what everywhere would be, if not for England. Everywhere would be that.
If it wasn't for white people, Wakanda, guys. If it wasn't for white people, Wakanda.
It's like, how do you navigate that landmine? Because I don't know if you guys know this, but the real country of Africa, not the friendliest place to the gay community. I mean, the continent. I meant to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the American education. That's as far as we get. We get.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a country.
Yeah. Once we took the SAT, I just forgot everything that I learned.
I got Google Maps. I don't.
It's like, I'm out.
What does he mean by be in Black Panther?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is we're gonna see a time skip all the way forward, and then the Black Panther kid will be Black Panther now, and this will be his older lover.
Well, Pinochet's helicopter tourist member of the channel says Man on Fire was Equalizer 3, and Man on Fire 2 was Equalizer 3. And yeah, to a degree. And then they decided to throw Queen Latifah into the Equalizer role. And I'm still really like Taxi would have been a better use of her. Taxi 2 would have been a way better use of that.
That actually would have been better, but also you could have just done, why not do the thing like they used to do in the old days where it's just like give the detective show some kitschy name, right? Like you didn't have to make it the Equalizer. You could have been like King and Queen, and it's like Queen Latifah and her partner is like a pit bull named King or something. I don't know. Like that's just there's
why not?
things to do there. Yeah, there's anything else you can do there.
Right, but they knew what they were doing, and they deliberately shaped that character into a Denzel Washington-esque female copy of the Equalizer character. Very gruff and hard to get along with, lowbrow attitude.
You know who actually looks good by comparison now that this story has been revealed? You know who actually has gained some ground now? Joaquin Phoenix. Because he literally trolled an entire production team and to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be in this super gay movie. I'm even going to lick some man's butthole for real. It's going to be NC-17 and then bailed on the production.
It's not gay enough. We need to make it gayer, guys.
More gay.
And then he was just like, oh, bye.
Yeah.
To be fair, he did go to do Joker 2, so I don't know. Did we really win?
Yeah, Tim Dillon slapped his butt cheeks and he was like, I don't like this after all. I really
don't.
To
be fair, those scenes were cut out of Joker 2 as well. So.
Yeah, wait till you get to the deleted scenes one, and when you go to the deleted scenes menu, the Pornhub sound plays.
But he was getting the Ron Furman treatment.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The director's cut, when it finally hits DVD, is just going to be like 3 hours of that.
So you start hearing like that's
yeah.
This was the artistic part of the movie. We were really concerned about Joaquin's health, but Dylan was really feeling the mood, and we didn't want to stop him. He had a good rhythm going.
we cut out the scene where he put Vaseline on the nightstick and got a running start.
Right. And we really thought that was kind of over the top, a little too superhero-y, okay? A little too superhero-y on that one.
We didn't have the budget for it, yeah.
Right. That felt more Wayans brothers than Warner Brothers, so we
there was a really awesome shot where he had the nightstick in midair, like that Roman Reigns punch, and it just like then cuts to the next.
You remember the scene in Sparta where they slowed down Leonidas?
And then it just cuts.
Tonight we dine in the showers. But yeah, anyway.
And then they just toss it back to his cell, and no one speaks to each other for a few days.
So Joaquin Phoenix didn't come out and say, I had a great time in the showers. But Denzel Washington did. So I'm really sad. They got everybody. And that oh man, it makes me really regret.
Like I said, at this point, at this point, we all know the game. So it's like, look, if you're someone who actually truly holds to your Christian values, if you are a real Christian, if you don't like worship Moloch or Baal or something like that, Hollywood's probably just not the best place for you. It's probably a good time to go. Like, don't try to be one with Babylon. Just kind of like move town. I hear Idaho's nice this time of year, so just. There's other places.
False prophets here. Do not listen to the man trying to get you to go to Idaho. Go anywhere else. Anywhere else.
What's wrong with potatoes?
There's nothing wrong with potatoes. This is wrong with everywhere be potato.
Oh, right. Well, I have trees here, so we are a potato country. We're also tree country.
But you have, that's beautiful.
But you also have demons too, so it's like, you gotta take the good with the bad.
A lot of those. It's really weird how much of that we have around here.
It's like trees, demons.
Demons in the trees. Like
you literally have the trees from like Mortal Kombat 2 in your hands.
If we ever get around to doing Ancient Echoes beyond the first episode, if we ever get around to ever doing it, we should definitely have like the campfire. I'll rearrange the studio so it looks like we're around a campfire and we'll tell those stories.
God.
I used to be the main taxi driver on X on 4chan, okay? So my stories that I wrote there as David are based on my experiences as a taxi driver in Maine. Okay.
Oh my God.
I feel like being a taxi driver in Maine isn't just like, oh, I'll take you 5 blocks over. It's like, okay, we're gonna do.
It's like being a tour guide in Jurassic Park. I'm not shitting.
Or like being like a tour guide for a Stephen King novel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is very
all of Cider's stories just all of Cider's stories just diverge into the second act of The Mist. So it just goes down.
It's
I
a
wish,
really good book.
I wish, but no, there's been a lot of crazy shit that happened to me. I mean, again, like, look, I'm not kidding you. I'm really not trying to toot my own horn about this. A lot of people liked what I did. I was really high for a couple weeks after surgery, and I just started writing horror stories for some reason. They're not even horror stories. They're thriller, kind of like weird thing happens in the woods.
Yeah.
The key to it, again, you could search it right now on YouTube. Don't leave this stream, but you could search it right now on YouTube. And it's just main taxi guy 4chan if you want to get specific. And there's a few videos there that have 100,000 or more views and stuff like that. And they're just reading my stories, or they have a robot voice reading my stories. And the whole crux of it is that David, the main character that I'm writing about, the character I'm writing through, is that he encounters evil. He does not fight it. He runs away from it. That's it. He's a coward. That's his whole thing. He's like, I'm not getting paid for this. It's your problem. Werewolves? Bah. He's not there. He's not a slayer.
He's
literally
not a Shaggy.
Yeah, not even that. He's just like one of the stories that really took off was in real life, I was transporting a group of boys to the autistic school that I worked for. And they had formed a bond with me and started talking to me about things. And just out of the blue one day, the older boy says, one day Jesus will return and free all the angels from the sun prison they're trapped in.
Oh God.
It just unprompted. We're watching like that elephant one, the old elephant animated show where it's like from India or something.
Oh, Barbar or whatever.
Barbar, yeah, the little Barbar thing. And just out of nowhere, he just says, the angels are trapped in the sun. Jesus is going to crack it open and bring them out. And I'm like,
wait, what do you know? What do you
so
know?
I incorporated that into what goes on. So I'm telling you this because it gets really off the rails with what 4chan did with it. I'll try to keep it quick. So what happened was I started telling a story about Franklin and Benji, and that's what I transformed these boys into from the real life experience. Yeah. And they went to a building that was 7 stories tall in Bangor, Maine. To my knowledge, when I wrote that, no building in Bangor, Maine was 7 stories tall. So what happened was I described them going to the top floor, to a daycare on the top floor, where David was not allowed to go inside. And he was in fact stopped at a lobby that led down a long hallway that the daycare was on the other side of, that you couldn't see inside of because of the distance. And so he was greeted every day by a person wearing a red polo shirt, black pants, and no shoes. And so what I said is there's a guy that runs the place named Daddy. All right, they call him Daddy. Wherever he goes, he's Daddy. He's Daddy to all the kids. But nobody is Mommy. There's no Mommy there. And so what happened with Franklin is that I had him like say that crazy thing about the sun thing in the story itself. And then I just kept playing up that like when we would enter the building, when David would bring Franklin and Benji to the building, there would be people in like cubicles at the entrance that would stand up and like watch the kids enter, but not say anything, and then get back down when they left and stuff. Just really subtle stuff. And then David had to sign an NDA, right? And he was confronted by a character that just called herself Aunt. You know, Aunt. That's it. Not Auntie.
Yeah.
And she was just Aunt. And that's all. That's what it was like. So he had to sign an NDA, and she was a real bitch to him and stuff like that. Well, here's what happened. Okay, I left the story at that because I just got bored of it from there. And so
the morphine got out of your system, and you're like,
well, yeah. So 4chan went on this crazy adventure, okay, and they found that Verizon was the only building in Bangor, Maine that has 7 stories. Okay, now of course, red polo, black shirt. Right? Okay, and then they found a real deal cult that exists in the world that believes that Jesus, upon his return, will break the sun, issuing somehow many days of darkness, that the world will be cleansed, the sun will be born again in God's majesty, and when light reaches it again, it will be purified, and Jesus' disciples will be waiting to receive the warmth. So they connected that Verizon was being run by one of these cultists that was engineering the second coming of Christ out of autistic kids. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, all I did was try to make this autistic school seem creepy. That's all I tried to do.
Dude, that's gonna like 400 or like Yeah, like way in the future, that's going to end up being like the basis for an actual religion. Somebody will find your story and be like, beware the coverage map. Like, don't
go ahead and check out these stories. Check the comment section mainly, because there's a lot of people that think I'm Stephen King, and I am not Stephen King. I hate the guy with all my might.
That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, that's just the best comparison.
That's anti-Cider right there.
Yeah,
that's the anti-Cider.
Exactly. Like you do not have no love lost for him.
Right, and that's just it. So if you want to check it out and find out what I'm talking about, just YouTube search main taxi guy stories if you want, and odds are whatever's got the 100,000, 200,000 view thing is my stuff. You're looking for green text on a dark background, and you're good to go.
Well, that's all of them. That's every video on YouTube before.
Well, as long as it says main taxi guy associated with it. And again, they do like a whole hour-long read-through of it. Like, they do all the stories at once. There's like 12 or 13. I was really high, okay? Really high.
Speaking of demons, Nerdigans, do those like plushies ever like creep you out at night, or is like you don't see like the cold dead stare of their eyes, like that pig behind you looks like it's going to eat you, like as soon as you turn this show off.
Not.
So my family, we have a farm, like a giant farm out in Delaware, and when we were kids, my mom took us out to go, visit the farm, visit my grandma and all that stuff, and when I got there, they were like, oh yeah, everybody's got this room in the house. Spencer, you're like 13 or 14. Like you're a boy, like you're a man. You can go sleep in the, like the detached like guest house. And I was like, cool, not a problem. I go in there, I see a couch. I put my stuff down. I go and I like, go to the bathroom. I come back in, I turn on the lights. The entire room is like wall to wall glass cases of porcelain, like dolls, like the ones that just like,
those are scary.
Yeah, I did not sleep. I was like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Like those things that I would understand being scared of, because those are probably possessed and will probably murder you in your sleep.
It's just a matter of time until those do. Like that's what I love is in 20 years, all the things we see on like Antiques Roadshow or are handed down from your grandparents. Like it's all going to be like anime figures, like wall scrolls.
Yeah.
Like here's the
this
Wii U,
amiibo figure murdered a family of 7.
I mean, they got haunted dolls on eBay. They've got to have haunted amiibo.
Right. This Bowser amiibo forced a child to murder his entire class.
Buy it now or bid.
It's in that, what is that ghost history guy that used to be a wrestler's like he's like doing a ghost hunting thing.
Isn't that Zach Brad or something like that?
Yeah, Zach something or other. He's obsessed with it. So he buys the Zach Baggins. He's obsessed. He has like a horror museum, so he's like buying all the haunted amiibos and stuff like that. He's got a haunted meat.
But what's great about him?
Here's the Annie-Gull that killed a guy on a motorcycle allegedly.
Well, that's my favorite thing is because he's such like Zach Baggins is such like a ghost bro and wants to, like the content all the time. He will buy shit just because somebody said something happens. Like, look at that ticket stub.
This is the Charizard card that the kid who killed his best friend was fighting over.
And sometimes
here's all these items that are literally possessed by demons. Should I destroy it? No, I'm gonna spend $50 and you can go see everything you want. You can take pictures with it. You can touch it too if you want.
What could go wrong?
You don't want to destroy it because then it escapes. Then it goes into something else. At least you know where it is. Put it in.
We've only had like 3 kids levitate with black eyes during this whole time, so it's like it's no big deal.
That's covered by the insurance, believe it or not.
I was gonna say they make you sign like a disclaimer before you go.
I think he's got like a discount dollar store warehouse 13. That's what he's got. You know?
No, if there's any location that needs to be drone strike, that's probably one of them.
Like, there's part of me that wants to like create an intro and like the whole thing where we're like that warehouse 13 ghost hunter group. But then I remember Zach Baggins. It's like nobody thinks that's cool anymore. That was like 10 years ago.
Ghost, are you here? Are you here, Ghost?
Real quick before we wrap things up. Remember the Travel Channel actually used to be about traveling? Like I know this is a weird concept for a lot of you people, but they used to like go to like hotels and beaches and stuff like that.
Anthony
Check out
Bourdain used to eat things for money on that channel. Yeah.
And for some weird reason in the last 5 years, it was like, no, let's just turn this whole channel into ghost hunting. So literally everything they show is about ghost hunting and demons and all this stuff. And it's like
the same show. They've got like 8 different ones, and they all go to the same place.
And they still call it the Travel Channel. It's like, what are we doing?
It's like we got the History Channel too. It's like what's happening on the History Channel and what is it? TLC.
I was gonna say TLC.
Why is the History Channel running dramatized shows at all? What are we doing here? What Project Blue Book blew my mind because I was like, how many hillbillies are gonna look at that and be like, there it is, that proof is on the History Channel, I saw it.
Yeah, citing kids are
it's
citing
the
it
aliens.
in their essays.
Right.
Like, you guys remember old MTV? Now, I'm talking about deep fried. This is gonna be deep fried for some of you guys. Anyone remember an old MTV show called Fear? Remember this show? It was like 25 years ago, and essentially what they did is that they would find like 4 or 5 like weirdos and be like, "Here, we're gonna lock you in a haunted location overnight. So all you guys have is this camera equipment. You have to sit in." The base of the challenge was here, sit in this haunted cafeteria that hasn't been inhabited since like 1923, and see if you guys find anything spooky.
Well, we bang on the walls and scream like idiots and try to terrify you the whole night. Yeah.
Like that's why I prefer like the Japanese like silent library shows because like that's what they do, but at least they will go like slap people. Like people will actually.
But it's like that they tried to make it seem scarier than it was. It's like it's not even the fact that you're sitting in like some haunted location that's scary. It's like, put it like this: what if I gave you a challenge? Go to the electronics section at Walmart and just sit there for 8 hours. It's like you would go crazy just being there. Like you don't have to have anything else. Like this whole concept is stupid. Like what are we doing?
I'm sitting here and I keep hearing the Mario Kart 64 theme song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I keep hearing blue shell alerts and there's no blue shells. Yeah, right? There's a true haunted house
to
test.
the grocery store.
I was just sitting there in this haunted asylum. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just heard do. Right,
that's
I've
the
never
new
known peace since that day.
That's the new TikTok brain rot thing. Is Mario chasing you through a haunted house?
Oh, dude.
And then you start running, and then like the music just gets louder.
We're probably already like 3 years late to that trend, Cider. Like I'm sure that already happened.
Right, exactly. And then you just hear Yahoo, and then like it flashes like lasagna on the screen, and that's the end of the video. Yahoo, lasagna. And that's it.
And then some guy freaks out and jumps out of like a 4-story building right out of the window, and all he hears doot 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 doot.
There you go. Break out of Luigi's mansion. There you go. Yeah, like the escape room is Luigi's mansion. Yeah, but we've come up with a lot of great ideas that corporations aren't going to take advantage of tonight, and that's a travesty in and of itself. But if you liked all the crazy ideas we had, hit like and subscribe.
Well, one more quick note right here is now being projected through multiple sites that Red One, which is The Rock's $250 million Santa Claus movie, is currently projected to earn only $35 million domestically in the opening week at the box office. So of course those numbers can always go down, but if that in fact happens, then you're looking at a massive money loser for The Rock, who knows at this point in time, either he's going to have to go back to the Fast and Furious franchise, pretend like he's a star again, or he's going to have to go back to WWE full time, because this Hollywood Rock phase is not working out now.
Nope. He's going to run for office.
Oh my god, I could totally see it.
Yep.
Well,
he already said he was going to do
it. Where like earlier this week, where it was like he's had all these accusations for years now, like he's hard to work with. He doesn't show up on set. He pees in bottles instead of going to the bathroom. And then he gave an interview this week where he's like, "Oh yeah, some of that happens, yeah." And it's like you didn't have to say that. Nobody was asking you to address it.
The interviewer asked him. He said, "Some people say that you pee in bottles," and then he just was like leaning back. He says, "Yeah, that happens." And that's it. That was his response. Not like, when you're performing, it gets a little intense and you don't want to break up the scene. It's okay to have dick hands if you're not touching anybody. Not that. He's just like, yeah, no, I piss in bottles. Do you want to fight about it? I just do it. I'm near the bathroom and I just do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's fun. That's what I do
Not
it
even
for.
clean
I get a whole
piss.
jug,
It's like,
try to fill it up. Fuck you.
It's like what we want to call Auburn piss.
We will do competition pissing right now. You need to piss a gallon if you want to beat me, little man. And that's... I got the jugs. Let's go.
Like, is there no portable toilet anywhere near the set? Like,
here's what needs to happen. Now it's The Rock versus an Amazon driver in holding their pee contest.
He shows up, yeah, right. He shows up to a set with a bag full of empty bottles. Like, oh hey man, thanks for doing bottle cleanup on the way over. Yeah, that's what I did. Sure. Just sets it down next to his seat before he picks up the script. You know, that's what I did. What do you got here, Jacob?
Oh, Spencer's gonna love this. Donald Trump announces that Ben Simmons will lead the Department of Missed Opportunities. It says that his unrivaled commitment to avoid every opportunity to shoot.
America is back. Oh, God, that's incredible.
So, that's a good way to end it.
Tremendous.
I was gonna say, I think that's probably the other thing before we do end, I wanted to note just that tweet. I think Nerdigan shared it with us before we came on, where The Rock was like, "Oh yeah, I went to see he saw some movie in like IMAX, like a Christopher Nolan
Oppenheimer movie."
Mm-hmm. Oh, Oppenheimer, and he sat in like whatever, like really close to the screen, and he's like, "This technology would be great for Red One," and I'm just like, man. Didn't he already do like Red One? What was that movie he did with Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds? Was it?
That was Red Notice.
Oh, so different. Red Notice, Gray Man, Red Card, white people. I don't know.
There's a meme. Everyone knows it. There's a meme of The Rock, and it's like 4 separate screenshots from 4 separate movies, and he looks like it's the same movie. Like, it looks like just different scenes from the same movie, but they're 4 different movies.
Discussing films usually isn't very like tipping their hand. They're usually just like, this happened, this happened, this happened.
Yeah.
So they say, The Rock says when he went to see the Oppenheimer in IMAX, he chose to sit in the same seat that Christopher Nolan uses to watch his films. And he said, quote, "I was thinking, holy shit, Red One on this screen with this technology, it's gonna be game over." The film has a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it's like, whoa, discussing film comes out like, hey, calm down, Rock, calm down. You know, they're like, you lower your expectations, friend. Lower your expectation. It's game over, all right, for your acting career.
No, I think that was Black Adam.
Yeah, I mean, at least Rock was smart enough to announce Jumanji 3 before, you know, this movie bombed.
when you make Pierce Brosnan look bad, you know,
I know,
not of his own volition, right? When you make him look bad, like that's something. That's a real talent right there. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I think that's all I got. Nerdigans,
okay.
Jacob, anything else?
You muted me, Nerdigans.
There's a couple of things. One, while the stream was going, the new Dr. Stone season trailer dropped. There's also the shenanigans that have been ensuing all day from Oshinoko's ending. Oh, God. But there was the announcement that O.R.C.A is doing a new series with the Record of Ragnarok mangaka Azuchika, and they confirmed, because I guess people were freaking out that Record of Ragnarok is going to end. It is not going to end. They had to reassure people that it wasn't going to end. But in regards to Oshinoko, the final volume is going to have 18 additional pages, as well as an additional like a novella with Arima and Akane's backstory, and I think it was saying a epilogue content. It was O.R.C.A was saying in their tweet, which I think is very interesting. I don't think it's going to quell the
Nerdigans.
What?
Who's O.R.C.A?
Oh, sorry, O.R.C.A. For those of you that don't know who O.R.C.A is, Akasaka is the mangaka of Oshinoko and Kaguya-sama Love is War.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
there's
more Oshinoko stuff or extra stuff coming, not more, just like a little bonus when it
it's a little bonus content, but I don't think it's going to quell the anger of people. They're saying that this is worse than Jujutsu Kaisen's ending, and I covered it this morning. It is not worse than Jujutsu Kaisen's ending. That ending is bad. It's not Domestic Not Kanojo, which is Domestic Girlfriend. That ending, nothing's going to top that ending in terms of bad. But Jujutsu Kaisen's ending is pretty bad.
Well, here's a question: Did you cover all that over on your channel?
Yes, I did. I covered it on
because I don't think any of us here know I don't think any of us are aware of any of that drama. So I want to point people to the actual source, somebody who actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, so you can watch. I need to probably do a separate video on that drama, but yeah, you can watch my coverage of Oshinoko, which I did cover since chapter 46. So for 3 years, I covered Oshinoko.
Dang.
Yeah, before it went mainstream.
Oh yeah,
and was available on Manga Plus. But yeah, it's become the synonymous of my channel is covering the mainstream before it becomes mainstream. But yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah, I think that's all that happened like during the stream. But yeah, I don't know if anyone else has anything else.
I'm good on my end.
Yep, I'm done. Okay, all right, cool.
I guess we're all done.
All right. Nerdigans, where do we find you out on the wild internet place thing?
Well, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Nerdigans Inc., where I cover anime and manga every day, including the shenanigans with Oshinoko. And on Patreon, patreon.com/packergirl, where I am covering Dragon Ball Daima. And when the dub comes out, I will be covering the dub as well as the sub. I'm covering Bleach Thousand Year Blood War over there as well. It's been very interesting with what's happening with Bleach Thousand Year Blood War. And on Twitter, you can find me right there. I am doing a reread of Pokemon Adventures, which has been really fun because I'm going to start covering it on my channel again. And I will be on, when we get back to it for Jacob's channel, we'll be covering Ruby and Sapphire. That will be in December.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know where you can't find Nerdigans? Twitter.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you not? Did your account get taken down?
No. Oh well.
No, she's shadow bound to like another
yeah.
dimension right now.
Yeah, you literally have to type her in the URL to get her.
I know she's shadow banned. I didn't know if we got worse.
I'm in the Twitter shadow ban realm, sadly. But it's funny because you can find my Twitter stuff, and it's the same with YouTube. You can find it on like Bing and Google, but you just can't find it on Twitter.
Yeah.
No.
So Jacob,
thanks, Elon.
You're not as shadow banned, are you?
Not that I know of, but I'm on
one
Twitter.
Time you were.
Yeah, not yet. I am on Twitter. Excuse me. Friday we have the Friday Night Movie Club. We're winding that show down. We're talking about Red One this Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern. So go check out. Me, Rob, and Rick will be back for that show. Sunday I have the Bible Lens. We're going to be talking about if Donald Trump, whether he's going to be the president of the United States who hands America over to Mystery Babylon. That's going to be the question on Sunday's episode. Tuesday, we're back with the Bar Room. Go check out last night's episode of the Bar Room. There was a whole bunch of people who showed up, including some of the people here that was on this show, that was on the show as well. And got some reviews coming up, got some articles coming up this weekend for Bounding 2. So I'll be pretty busy. So that's what you can look forward to.
All right. And Spencer, where do we find you out?
As for me, guys, first I want to say thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It was a blast. I think this deep fried stream was a lot of fun. We were all laughing and enjoying ourselves. I hope you guys were as well. As always, you can come back next week, same bat time, same bat channel for another episode of 01, where the four of us will be back to break down the week's biggest the week's biggest news, biggest disasters, and everything in between. As always, check out the website every single day for new news stories. Check out the YouTube channel. Cider will let you know all about that. And then, yeah, if you want to hang out with me more before next week's show, you can follow me on Twitter at Kabuto Rider Mav, Studio Kabuto on YouTube, and I'll see you guys all next week.
Yeah, what Spencer said, we got it all covered here, so we'll check you later, and good luck out there, guys. Remember, there's a lot of crazy going around, so try to keep your head above water, and unlike Denzel Washington, don't kiss anyone.
Racing track in the dark.